Please like and subscribe to the Couch and The Rube YouTube channel. Also download podcast episodes wherever you get your podcasts. For sponsorship opportunities, email Jason at couchandtherube.com.
What do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and The Rube.
Welcome to Couch and The Rube, our Tuesday show, presented by our friends at Muskox Quality Flannels. Outstanding for a cool spring night, a day that starts at 50 degrees and winds up at 65, a summer night on the beach. Just because January and February are gone does not mean it is no longer flannel season. A Muskox flannel is also great to use as a swaddle for a 10-day-old child, which I am now aware of, having one myself. Welcome, Cora Couch, to the Couch and the Rube family. That's why we've been gone. She has been swaddled in a Muskox, and it's was the only time she wasn't unhappy being changed. So there is that. GoMuskox.com, and our listeners, of course, with the promo code Peacock, you can get $15 off a Muskox flannel. Jason, how you doing, brother?
It's the American way, except America has gotten soft. Back to the white elephant in the room. They don't want to deal with the white elephant in the room. Pound the bushes.
What's up, buddy? Look at you. I see you in a different light now.
Yeah.
Father Couch.
Wait.
Now Hondo, he can't lie anymore. You are a good father now.
Better husband and father.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I've been waiting. This is basically, Hondo inspired me all those years ago when we used to do interviews, and he would call me a better husband and father than I was writer when I was neither at the time, and now I've decided to.
Wow, listen to this. By the way, I mean, congratulations to you and Elizabeth, by the way.
Thank you.
Cora Couch, that's amazing. But I have to give myself some credit for not saying anything for this amount of time. Like, I had to tell people eventually, because a lot of people would text and be like, are you guys okay? Is everything okay? Which is very, very nice. But I didn't really talk to you about it because it was kind of like, you told me that you guys were pregnant like weeks ago, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, we're going to have the kid. And so then I didn't know what to, because I knew you guys were busy, so I didn't know what to say to people. I didn't want to,
Yeah, no, so
because it's your guys' story to tell, and I knew that you were pregnant, but you don't want to sit there and people are coming up to you like, oh, yeah, Couch is having a kid,
We definitely didn't plan on it happening last Friday, going to the hospital. So that the show was not like it wasn't like we thought this could happen. We canceled
Very
because
secretive.
That happened quickly. Yeah, she was due originally May 9th. So she came a month early. And
well, I have a clip from Cora.
Oh, yeah.
I've only been on this earth less than a month, and I'm already sick of my dad's takes. Put down the donuts and get me some milk.
Sounds about right.
Soccer is boring.
Aw, look at little Cora Couch. Already talking. Like a couple weeks old.
She is already...
She's a genius.
She has already slept through a lot of soccer with me. There is no doubt, because she sleeps a lot.
Soccer is boring.
Yeah, no doubt. She has slept through an awful lot of soccer and barely had her eyes open for any of it. But I'm hoping she'll hear maybe develop an English accent or something, just hearing the broadcasters in the background.
You look too good, though, by the way. Like, you look well-rested, and I know you didn't have the child. I'm not that stupid, but, it is, you have to, like, rough yourself up a little bit. You're looking too good, man.
We're sleeping in shifts, which is the only way we can figure out how to do it, because she'd rather be held by us than in her bassinet. Like, the bassinet works for a period of time, but it just eventually it's harder to get her back to sleep there, and instantly in your arms she's asleep.
Do you wake up and then do you ever forget that you're like a father though? I feel like I'd wake up and like, oh shit, right.
You don't have time for that.
Damn.
Yeah, no, my shift starts and I'm on. Like it's I'm getting to sleep at night right now, which we'll see if that sticks. So I'm sleeping from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m., which isn't bad.
Just snoring.
Yeah. Maybe 10 to 5.
Elizabeth, just when you wake up, just like, all right.
She takes a couple 4-hour windows. Yeah, it's
Oh man, that's amazing.
So
congratulations to you guys. It was the best news, but then I'm sitting there like I can't tell anybody.
Yeah.
And like Dominic texted me, and I know we're friendly with more than others with Dominic. So I had to like tell him like, yeah, we're fine. There's an addition. I tried saying it without saying it, I guess. It was just, I don't know. Like I said, I want to pat myself on the back for not really outing it. Not that it would out anything, but I don't know. Those things are always weird, and people like to. I'm really bummed that you never did a gender reveal party, though.
Yeah, we're not really. I've been to a few of those. I don't mind them. They're a fun way to get together and like drink, But
you could just drink. You could just get together.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been to some good ones.
You do the get together and then have the gender reveal, and don't tell anybody, and then just have the gender reveal in it.
I love to see when those things go wrong, like when they have like a younger sibling swinging a baseball bat at a pinata and it hits somebody, or it goes.
You've watched America's Funniest Home Videos.
Right.
I'm sure they're out there. Yeah. Anyway, man, that's amazing.
Yeah, no, fatherhood is outstanding.
Is it?
It is.
Is it? Yeah.
Oh, she's amazing. There's a level of purpose that you did not have, and it also, you think I was late before, like just the ability to mobilize, and look, a lot of our audience has had children, and so this is nothing. This is not groundbreaking. It's not.
Well, it's groundbreaking for us.
It is for us.
Geez.
Yeah. Right. Neither one of us had a kid into our that we know of, at least in your case, into our mid-40s.
You and Bobby De Niro going to be hanging out at Sharp Park.
Yeah, the old dad.
Talking shop with Bobby De Niro. Anyway, we got a couple people in here in the YouTube comments. Did Couch plan the due date of the child to be after the basketball season? Did you guys do that on purpose? It was really kind of good timing.
It was great timing. May 9th would have been better than like if Michigan State hockey had made the Frozen Four, I would have been in Vegas when all this happened and had to like scramble back.
God.
And so now I have to, for her birthday every year, root against MSU hockey. So I need MSU hockey to fall back into like irrelevant. No, I'm kidding. I don't need that. I'm not rooting for that. But
this guy with jokes.
Sorry. Bad jokes. Bad jokes. Yeah. No. Everything's good. She was born now, 5 pounds, 12 ounces.
Yeah.
And she's back up to that. They lose a little when they're born. She eats and poops constantly, which is very relatable. So it's good. We bond, and
that's amazing.
She's fun to hang out
So did
with.
Tom Izzo not pick up a big out of the portal because he knew that you were having a child or something? Or
I think that was it.
He tell Steven that?
Wanted to wait a little while and let some things simmer down.
By the way, JR Jr. says, don't name it after Jason or you're setting up the little one up for a life of mediocrity. This fucking guy. This junior guy. You're like, oh man, at least you got a couple of days off of the show. I'm like, oh, I like doing the show. Then I get here.
She's named after a couple people. Elizabeth's great grandmother. A little bit, some of that, and then some of Elizabeth's favorite movie character.
Soccer is boring.
Which I'll let people guess on if they want to, although that's kind of dumb. But you can figure it out. We've
Wait, the movie characters' names, Cora, or the actors?
The movie characters.
Okay.
Yeah. So
it's not going to be a movie I've ever seen.
I bet you've seen it.
Really?
I'm pretty sure you've seen it. It was a big enough movie that you probably.
You guys are so
it.
mysterious.
Yeah.
You don't announce the child. The explanation of the child's name is mysterious. Like, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, my God, the royal family announced it sooner than you guys.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. At some point, we'll put.
So you must have to get back. We got to probably wrap this up in like 30 minutes then, huh?
I woke Elizabeth up before I came in. I was like, it's your turn. I gotta go. Gotta go do a show.
Poor Elizabeth. That's what she looks up and sees.
Yeah.
Just a muskox flannel.
Here's Cora.
Unbelievable. I gotta go. She pooped.
Here's Cora. Who needs a diaper change. I took her to an appointment with me this morning. I kept Elizabeth. I did well.
You took the baby by yourself to an appointment?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Not to her appointment, to my own appointment. Yeah.
Oh, you had an appointment.
I had an appointment.
Yeah?
Which, by the way, ultimate cheat code. You show up anywhere with a 10-day-old baby.
Oh, yeah.
People love you. People just want to, yeah.
Well, I would hope so, unless they're
great.
A room full of psychotic people.
Yeah, it's
I feel like no matter who you are, unless you're like a serial killer, if you saw a 10-year-old child with a guy wearing a flannel and shorts and flip-flops, you go, oh, this is unbelievable. What a scene. Wait, this guy has an appointment? Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. This guy looks too good to have a 10-day-old child. Like, I've never seen. I've worked with Couch for how many years? 8 years. He's never looked better in his life than he did today. I don't know if it's the new dad shine or whatever it is, but my God, he looks well rested and everything. Poor Elizabeth.
Yeah, you don't have time to waste time. You don't have time for all your old.
That's why I never wanted to do it. It's just so scary.
Yeah.
God, that's all I thought about. It's like, damn, Couch is a dad. I woke up a couple times. I was like, damn, dude, Couch is a dad right now. Oh, Couch is doing dad things right now. Anyway,
I thought about bringing her in, like Lion King style and putting her in the like they did at the beginning of Modern Family and putting her in the middle. But these bright lights aren't good for a
the
newborn.
lights were the problem?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
and I didn't run it by Elizabeth, so that would have been a problem too. Hey, we're just going to put her on display.
Should have recorded
YouTube.
that, just you running it by Elizabeth.
Would have gone well.
Here's what I'm thinking. Here's how we announce the child. We didn't do any Facebook posts or anything. Because I kept asking T, because she had Facebook. I'm like, did Couch announce it on there? Like, I don't know when to tell people. I didn't know what the rule was or anything. So next time when Tyrone comes in 2 years or whatever, maybe we could announce it ahead of time.
I think part of me would have preferred that because you run into a situation where there are lots of people you should have already told that you haven't told.
Yeah.
And so that.
Well, what you shouldn't do is have Ebling announce it on his show. Because maybe 1 or 2 people heard it. You're better off announcing it in a forest.
Yeah.
That's all. I'm like, wait, how did he hear? He's like, I heard on Ebling that he announced the Couch, and that was like one person. So, anyway,
it was not great for her.
Maybe if you do your announcement, no one will know on that show.
Clearly, our crossover audience is not strong.
Yeah, but I mean, other people like that because
I heard from a few people.
The other best part about it is the lack of the announcement, and then all of a sudden, you firing off takes about the Pistons' Game 1 loss. We're like, wait a minute. Did he tweet about anything else other than this? Now he's just coming out, no announcement.
Well, and I figured, it was kind of bad because I didn't go to the MSU football spring game. I don't, I'm not as into a couple things, right? But if you're, and I'm not, I haven't been on social media as much or not responding to people, and then all of a sudden I'm on for random Pistons takes. Like it's not great. It's just I didn't need to do that, but whatever.
No, it's perfect. It's a perfect couch. That's how you'd handle it. Yeah,
excellent.
Anyway, yeah.
Well, yeah. So we missed a lot. Should we go back to
I don't know.
Masters?
What takes could we possibly have here other than Couch being a dad? Well, unbelievable. Carson Cooper coming back. Can you tell us good news?
Not that I know of. But I do. I mean, they would love to have him back. And I saw, that Matt Sheehan had Carson on Locked On Spartans, and Carson said it sounded like he would like to come back. So I will start rooting around that as I get back to work next week. But
start reading some tea leaves.
That would be for them ideal, obviously.
Have Cora with you, so then you can hold her up in the Zoom call or something.
Right.
People want to give you information.
Right. So yeah, we'll.
Have you met my daughter?
Look, that is a.
Becca is boring.
Yeah, that's her. We'll turn her. She'll change.
No, that whole saga, and there have been some big men that have gone to other places that I think Michigan State was in on and had some traction on to some degree.
I need an answer, though.
Yeah.
I had to withhold this child thing. I can't withhold the big man thing.
Yeah.
Second to where's Couch, where are you guys, is Izzo going to sign anybody?
They've got to add somebody or get Cooper or Kohler. They've got to get somebody back. They have to. They can't have.
You're talking Kohler, too? He can come back?
Well, I'm not. They're both 4-year guys. So what's out there now for people who aren't, have balanced lives, maybe, which we might have a few in the audience. There is this possible NCAA rule that could be changing to allow 5 years of eligibility. And if this happens, just blanket 5 years of eligibility. I think there are a lot of problems with it. I'm not as gun now for Michigan State in the short term in basketball. It is brilliant. Now, keep in mind, fifth-year guys can come back across the sport, so there's some other teams that might bring guys back. But I think it helps Michigan State, given who they have in their situation next year, more than it helps most teams. I don't know that it's a good idea, though. Overall, I don't think it helps. Like, you got to really think this through in terms of number of scholarships, what it does to the high school ranks, how it changes things. Because if you don't have any more spots and you've got a whole extra year, if you've got 20% more eligibility, and granted, some guys leave early and it won't affect quite 20%, but say it's a 10% bump in people sticking around and being in the sport, that dramatically impacts your talent coming up the high school pipeline or kids. It changes a lot, and I don't know that it's overall healthy. I think 4 years for college is probably good with the idea of red shirts. I think some of the concepts that are in place work. I know that they get sued into oblivion with all these waivers and other things, and this is what sort of, maybe get rid of some of that. I think they'd still get sued in the waivers, but if they just had this sort of blanket 5-year deal. But for Michigan State basketball next year, if this happened and the players who are just now graduating as seniors, it was retroactive for them, and I think it probably would be, then it would help Michigan State immensely because the guy they are looking for, essentially, I think, Now, there are guys who have little different talents than Cooper, and there's some guys who would be really good players. But Cooper is a guy who understands the system. He's developed immensely. I think he's still got another level to go. He's the size you want. You know he can defend the position. He plays well with Jeremy Fears Jr. Like, that is the guy. Like, if there was, for example, if Carson Cooper, there was no way he could come back, but another school had a Carson Cooper that got in the transfer portal, that should be your number one target because you know what that is. So, but we'll see whether that. The other problem is, you don't know if that's going to happen. You can't really wait for that. You have to have. I don't think you can go into the season.
Is that what Izzo's doing though? Is he waiting to see what happens?
I've just poked around a little bit. I've been a little busy with other things, but so I don't know entirely. I mean, I think they wanted some guys that are gone. I don't know all the circumstances in terms of price points and things like that. And I mean, some of these guys are going for big money. And that's okay. It's a premium position. You have premium positions, like in the NFL, right? Defensive ends, pass rushers, quarterbacks, left tackles. In college basketball, point guards, centers. There are positions that are premium that you have to that are going to cost more. But some of these, Michigan State to me does not have a cheap roster next year as is. So I would guess if just doing
compared
the math,
to what?
Well, I'm not
the rest of the Big Ten or.
I don't. It's a good question because if I just do the math in my head, I'm guessing what guys are going to make next year. I would guess the returning roster is at 10 at least.
10 what?
Million.
What?
Right?
That's it? Sounds a little light.
Well, but that's before you. Maybe it's more. I'm just trying to guess what it would be in my head based on who I think was probably making.
Now, what if you had a Hall of Fame coach that was looking for his second natty? That is possibly 5 years away from retiring. What would that be? Then what would the budget be? I would add a 30 mil. Oh, I don't know. It's for maybe 1 or 2 years. Try it out and see what it feels like.
The other dynamic, and this is
especially after Michigan won the natty.
This is on my profession, entirely on my profession. So there is, and this is also being called into question right now, this clearinghouse, right, where you have to get NIL deals through, and a lot of them have gotten through, a larger percentage than haven't. So it's like schools are working around this for the most part pretty well. But that's beyond the rev share. The rev share, you only have so much. And again, remember, this is the first year with the rev share house settlement being in place when the contracts are being decided in men's basketball. So a year ago, all those transfers came in, and then rev share started July 1st. So a lot of places got the rev share and collectives or whatever there was. Well, now you have, whether you're doing it through, media rights deals, whatever you're doing, however you're framing it, however you're getting semi-legitimate NIL separately, whether the rule is just, whether the rule can be challenged, if you're covering a team with a roster that reportedly has like $2, $4, or $5 million centers, and and you're spending like Indiana is, for example. And Indiana football is spending what there is.
Sounds awesome.
But what I'm saying is, that's not there in the rev share. That's got to be legitimate NIL. So that question should be posed, because even if it's everybody's doing it, it doesn't mean that you're not openly breaking the rules. And if the whole point of covering a team is to hold people accountable, you ought to at least ask that question and say, well, how are you paying for this? What is the mechanism that is doing this? And that should be
you
something
think they'll give you an honest answer?
I don't know, but it should be something that can answer it, something Michigan State should have to answer. It's something that Indiana should have to answer. Everybody should have to answer it, or at least pose the question. And they want to dart around it, and that's fine. And whether this is all, whether the clearinghouse even exists, and by fall, who the hell knows? But anyway, there's a lot out there. I think Michigan State will add somebody, be it their own guy or somebody else. Will it be to the level that's necessary? I don't know, because again, there's always a chance that a guy like Ethan Taylor, a freshman, is just ready, more ready than I think he is. But that would be more ready than I think he is. Doesn't mean I don't think he can be a really good player. Doesn't mean he doesn't have immense talent. But you need somebody next year, and you're not recruiting over them to bring in somebody who's a veteran for a year or two. And Jesse McCullough may be a guy who turns out to be ready. This could be the big summer step he makes, right? These things can happen. He was injured last summer. This could be his big move. But to me, with the roster you have, you can't count on that, and they're not, because if they were counting on it, they wouldn't be in on all these other guys. Their name wouldn't be circulating with visits and amounts and guys they're interested in and final lists. Like, that's all legit. And look, I've talked to people on that staff. They know that they need to bolster that position. Now, again, ideal would be Carson Cooper, and the problem with everything in life is timing, right? And does Michigan State get screwed by a rule coming into place just after that works out or whatnot? How flexible is Cooper? How far down the NBA?
Got screwed by the Hauser thing, and then get screwed by
They've had a few, yeah. So we'll see where that goes. What is your first take?
Well, speaking of questions being answered, one of the days we missed was Max Bullough being asked by our boy Connor Eargood about the Rose Bowl. And it seemed like Max was a little taken aback by the fact that Connor asked the question. I respect Connor for asking this question. Now, you could maybe argue whether or not it was time to do it there or in that kind of setting, but I can play it for you right here.
Can you elaborate on what exactly happened there? And
Yeah, you've been dying to ask that one, huh? I know you guys have been dying to ask that one. Who might answer that one? So we just established that was 13 years ago, right? So my focus and my energy and my attention is on the 2026 Spartans and my beautiful wife, Bailey, and my 4 boys, Rocky, Teddy, Banks, and Murphy. We'll leave the past where the past is. It has nothing to do with what we're doing moving forward. And so let's talk about the 2026 Spartans.
Is it something, when you talk about young men being mentored and things, and that's a hard challenge, you talked about the meaning of being a 2-time captain, Rose Bowl, granddaddy of them all, it doesn't get bigger than that. When you are coaching young men and they go through struggles and different issues, is that something that you can use and lean on? If, like, I've been in these situations, I've struggled, had things, go differently than I'd like to in a career. Is that something you can lean on?
I've never used it in that context. I have used other things in terms of adversity that I've gone through. I've never brought that up intentionally as a point of learning. But I certainly have used other times of adversity in my life to come, to connect with the players. As I know everyone comes from different places and has different issues. And the ones that I can relate to and connect to, ultimately it's my job to connect to them regardless, right? So I got to find a way to connect to them, so I'll do that in any way I have to.
All right, that's pretty much it. But shout out to Connor Eargood. And then 100%. The follow-up, because after that response, which I don't think was a great response from Max Bullough, I don't think if you want to nip something in the bud, that's how you kind of respond that way and bring up your family and then your 4 kids. Like, what? I don't know what that has to do with it. It's honestly, and a lot of people, since that, that answer has happened, have said, well, why is it a big deal? Why do you care? And honestly, in the end of the world, I don't really care in the grand scheme of things. It is interesting that your starting linebacker missed a Rose Bowl, one of the biggest games in Michigan State football history. And I think that, if you don't want to get into specifics, and then I don't know why you wouldn't use that to build on and teach players. Maybe I made a mistake in here. I mean, we all make mistakes. We talk about it all the time. I talk about all of my mistakes on this podcast. People love to give you second chances. I can't imagine what Max Bullough did to get suspended to where you would be that embarrassed by it and not want to talk about it. I just think Max could have answered a little bit better than that. You don't have to get into specifics if you don't want. But that, I
agree. I mean, it was just, again, it's 13 years ago. It doesn't need to be defensive. And there's a tone, just a hint of defensiveness in there.
Oh, there was a lot of defensiveness in it. Yeah. It's like, well, you've been waiting a long time. You know what I mean? Like that, the whole attitude from the start to finish was just beyond wild to me. And then everybody's like, well, we want to keep him here, so don't quit asking that question. Like, okay, if that's your answer, we don't have to talk about it anymore. Right? I mean, if you want to just flat out even say, listen, I'm not going to talk about that. It's in the past. Thank you. Next question. I would have rather had that than that whole long, drawn-out thing where you did get he was offended by the question. And the follow-up was a valid one as well. And Connor had the right to ask that question.
And frankly, somebody should have, and I know Connor's taking all this grief because people are like, he's a Michigan, graduate. Look, not everybody who goes to these universities, there aren't that many big universities, right? Not everybody who goes to these thinks the way you do about that rivalry and lives that rivalry the way you do. He went to be a journalist.
Listen to how he asked the question.
Yeah, it's very measured.
He didn't ask it as someone that was, he asked it as an impartial guy.
And it had to be asked. And I'm not saying somebody else wouldn't have asked it, but I'm not sure an organization with the name Spartan in their title was going to ask it. And somebody needed to that day. I mean, I had hoped to sit down with Max over the winter, and it was something that was still hoping to do it at some point. But when that didn't happen, I figured it was going to get asked at his first press availability. Ebling had him on his show and didn't ask it. Probably
no one would have heard it. So actually, that's probably the best show to go on, Max.
Probably should have asked it.
Yeah, why not? It's not that big of a deal, dude. Why were you suspended for the 2013 Rose Bowl?
And the
it's
one
wild.
There were a lot of people who I heard from when this was happening who were just saying, "Look, it wasn't. Nobody cares anymore. This is 13 years ago. No, I didn't. We've been doing this show 8 years. Mm-hmm. Outside of Connor Stallions, what's the question that we've been asked most in 8 years? It is that.
Or the fear shooter.
What's that? Or the fear shooter.
Fear
right.
shooter.
So it's like one of the great legendary conspiracies in MSU football and MSU sports history.
Yeah.
And even in recent years. And a lot of it has to do with, it is one of the more, I and a number of other people who covered that era have heard what it is, but don't have it like on record. We still don't have it on record. Back then when it happened, to have something not come out as well sourced as it was, as well as, and I'll take you a little behind the curtain. So this is 2013 when it happens. My wife, who I'm dating at the time, wakes up middle of the night, says, this looks like a big deal, right? I get up, wrote a column about it, and all of us, and just about what a big deal was. We didn't really know what it was. And the next day, talking with Joe Rexroad, was around at the time, who knew the Bullough family pretty well, Solari and our other people. Just how do you go about this? And Joe was really well connected with that family and got nowhere. And then later on, when he was at the combine, this is how we'll talk about irresponsible journalism maybe in a minute, but how responsible things were. We thought we had it a couple times, but didn't have it sourced to our liking to the degree in which we felt comfortable in terms of it has to be, it can't be like two people removed. It can't be this. It has to be. And we had Dave Burkett on it, who's fantastic, at the Detroit Free Press. We had lots of people were working on it, and it never came out publicly. And so that it became this sort of thing like it was being covered up, but it was not. It was just well kept in a circle beyond anything I've ever seen in a story like that.
By the way, everyone involved, I will rob a bank with you. The
100%.
Bullough family, I will
100%.
rob a bank. I will commit crimes with you guys because I know that is airtight. To not have anybody get out and say something,
yeah,
that is amazing.
That's a good family.
But but I think it just magnifies it, especially with that answer. With all of the years, like you mentioned, it being asked about and talked about, I think a simple, again, without getting, if you don't want to get into details of why you were suspended.
Yeah.
I feel like unless I heard it and was like, okay, I guess you can't say that, but I don't know what that would be.
I don't think it would have been that bad.
That's what I mean. So
and part of, the follow-up question was great from Connor because it's about accountability, right? It's about you're teaching young men, and do you use it? And is somebody who's in a position of accountability, this is, and I get that it's 13 years ago, but it's never been brought up. This is why I always talk about the value of like the open locker room at Michigan State basketball and the way Izzo brings out guys who've just screwed up immediately. Yeah. They become one-day stories, two-day stories. It doesn't linger years or months. You don't hide like a lot of schools do because things, once they're done, they're done. It doesn't necessarily define you. And there are certain ways in the Michigan State community, and I'm not saying people love Max Bullough. He did enough there. Right. Everybody wanted him back. I'm not saying this is defined, but it's part of his story. And he was like a Mateen Cleaves level figure of MSU football in the most successful era of MSU football. He was the middle linebacker. Yep. He's a quarterback of the defense. He still is unbelievably cerebral football mind. The way I've never seen anything like it, where the opposing quarterback would call out an audible, and he knew the audible, and he would call it back, and you just see them be like, "Well, shit!" It was incredible stuff. Just the next level mind. And so anyway, when he gets suspended for the Rose Bowl, the game that they've been trying to get to for 7 years. For a lot, that was the D'Antonio era at the time. For a lot longer, back to '88, like it had been this. It was a huge deal that's never been explained, and it was her first public press dealing, and to not ask it would have been wholly irresponsible. And for some people to say there isn't interest, maybe you're not interested. I'm going to tell you right now, there is a ton of interest in that. Yeah. For example, if we titled a show, nothing else. Couch and the Rube, why Max Bullough was suspended from the Rose Bowl. It would be our most listened to episode by trillions.
All right, let me change the. Let's see if I can here edit that. Okay.
And again, it's not something that should be held against him forever. I think it's not that huge a deal in terms of moving
unless
forward.
He pushed a gay guy down the stairs. You know what I mean? Like you admitted that, and you're fine. Look at you persevering, having a child.
Okay, I did.
But Max Bullough, I just feel like it's just I don't know. Like I can't believe that was the answer, and how shocked he looked that it was being asked of him that was the other surprising thing to me.
Yeah,
because I just don't. And by the way, I don't know Max Bullough personally, but I feel like he hasn't gotten into any other trouble in his life outside of football even. So why would it be so bad to talk about after the fact? It would have to be some sort of learning experience for your young players that you're coaching right now.
In some ways, right. You're 13 years out. It should be easier.
Yeah.
We all.
Everybody deserves a second. What could you have possibly done?
Right. And I guarantee you there are people it didn't affect his NFL career. Was it Vrabel who said that he was the smartest guy he ever had?
Boy. Yeah.
We'll get into Vrabel in a minute. That's a different conversation.
Football wise.
Football,
off the field.
But so it's fair. Look, it's not going to be something. It's not something that's going to be asked of him at every press conference or shouldn't, because he gave his answer. It is what it is. Now, I do think it's something that probably should be revisited in the right setting at this point. If you do have a longer form interview with him, where
you're going to ask,
I wouldn't a longer form interview. You don't lead with it because that doesn't set a good tone. But you do say, hey,
So do you think the press conference was the wrong place to maybe try? Yeah, okay.
No, because in fact there are ways about that. There are more savvy ways. If you don't want that setting, the easy thing to do is you go, that hey, I'd like to have Ebling ask me about it, or I'd, or just say, we've got some
shorten the question.
We've got this puff piece columnist in Lansing. Have him interview me out. I'm sure he'll write flowery things anyway. This Couch guy, he sucks. Have him ask me. There are ways to do it ahead of time.
Just Matt Mancarini. Keep that guy away from me. The guy looks like a magician. Keep that guy 100 yards away from me.
There are ways around it, and it's just not of all the. It's of all the sins in the world and all the sins that have happened in this state and football and other things, it's not that big a deal. Yeah. But I thought he could have handled it a little differently. Yeah. But it doesn't mean, that. And I don't think something like that's going to run somebody off. And it's not. This isn't going to be something where people are chasing him down hallways asking him. It was asked. It was answered.
Well, the more it goes unanswered, and the people, like you said, that people are going to be clamoring for that. Clicks.
But it's not the
clicks are going to get out.
He at least has answered it. He said what he said. He said he's not going to answer it. It's been asked. It's not like at the next press conference we're going to ask it. Because eventually, what are you doing? You're just wasting time on other stories at some point. But it's at some point, in the right setting, he probably should be asked it tactfully again, or at least why it's. And I would hope that at some point he'd be willing to address it a little bit. Because there's a guy who is head coach material, right? At some point, it's.
And guess what, Max? People really don't care.
Yeah.
A majority of us.
They just want to know.
You're going to have the 10% of people that are going to talk shit about it or whatever happened. But other than that, the rest of us just, I don't know. It's just a curious thing. Like you mentioned, it was one of the greatest times in MSU football history, and it's something that happened. That's pretty much it.
Most of us have greater sins.
Yeah.
So
come on, Max. Come on the show. Let's talk about it. I'll tell some stories. It's usually what I do is I'll tell a couple stories, make you feel really good. Like, oh, God, what I did is nothing compared to this asshole. This is unbelievable.
We'll get into all the Rube's federal crimes, and it'll be good. It'll be
absolutely. This guy killed a gay guy. I mean, I got stories, Max. Come on.
Should we move on to the Vrabel thing real quick? Should we do that?
Yeah.
All right. So the other story that happened.
Because Vrabel did come out and had a presser today.
I saw that.
Yeah. No questions.
And but he did sound very guilty in his presser. Did he not?
Well, the pictures. I mean, if you see the pictures, yeah. I feel like he had to have he did mention that he had to have conversation with his family.
Yeah. Right. Some tough, difficult conversation.
Yeah.
So Diana Rossini, who works for the Athletics, worked for other places.
Well, she quit. She got fired.
She did, right. And Vrabel, the Patriots coach, if you've been living under a rock, we're caught, holding hands and what do you call it with your fingers? Interlacing your fingers. Yeah.
You imagine if that's what I did with this Alex Sims show? I get all this shit. That's why I told T. I go, all this shit I take for the Alex Sims podcast. You imagine after that podcast that we interlocked hands for a photo or something?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I mean. The interlocked hands part pictures what got me. That and the fact that they were at some Arizona resort.
Well, and
that's meant for a romantic getaway.
None of her friends spoke up. The other 6 were.
Well, that's the other thing. She did mention, they both mentioned they had friends with them.
Right.
And that's when the Athletic rumor is the Athletic said, well, show us proof that your friends were there. Because, I don't know many ladies that put their phone down when they're on vacation with their friends. But yeah, anyway, so she couldn't provide that, so she resigned.
Yeah, no, it's
but people were flipping out because, it's a double standard, and why aren't people going after Vrabel? And it's like, I just think they're different.
Well, speaking of a muskox man, by the way, Vrabel looks like a muskox man.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Like if there's somebody that was looking for a model other than myself and maybe Cora and in a swaddle, I would say. But if you, by the way, if you want to, if you want to look like a muskox man, or you want to feel your best self, and I'm talking this summer, this spring, at the beach, at night, whatever it is.
If you're in the middle of a sex scandal.
If you're in the middle of a sex scandal, right, or you're being asked, look, Max Bullough looks like a muskox man.
Oh, yeah.
If you're being asked questions you don't want to answer about something 13 years ago, go to gomuskox.com. Get yourself a flannel. A great selection there. Whatever makes your eyes pop, whatever you like most, and use the promo code Peacock for $15 off your flannel purchase. The thing about the Rossini Vrabel story is a lot of the mistake I saw people making out there is they were frustrated that she was losing her job and taking all this grief and he wasn't. And what was clear that people don't understand is in journalism, like what she did was not only unethical or immoral, it was unethical in her profession. Like for him, he's got an issue with his wife personally, perhaps, allegedly, maybe.
Well, and he did make the Super Bowl last year. So.
But what I mean is his job is not tied to getting information and doing it in an ethical manner. He's on the other side. If those two had been flipped, if he had been the reporter and she had been the coach and this had happened, then he would have deserved the grief and the firing. Mm-hmm. It's just that's the job. Now, for everything we've said about, or everything that's been said about her, and I understand there are women who are frustrated by this because it plays into stereotypes. Let me say this. Schefter, Woj, Shams, all these insiders. What's his nuts who did the LSU Mel Tucker story? No, come on. Help me out here.
LSU Mel Tucker story.
For the Athletic.
Skip Bayless.
No.
The Athletic.
Hold on. Damn it.
That's the team.
We should have been ready for this. I will. Well, I'll come back to it. I don't know why I'm blanking. I got been up since 5:30 in the morning feeding a 10-month-old or 10-day-old. That's going to be my approach.
Here comes the excuse.
Yeah, it's going to be.
Hey, Cora, by the way, you're going to be used as an excuse
anyway,
for a lot of things.
All of these guys are just as bad, right? It's a really yucky business. They put all sorts of agent accomplishments in tweets. They do favors for people. They trade favors. It's brutal. It's all the same shit.
What Schefter has done is almost as bad as interlocking your fingers
with
worse.
Vrabel. It's worse. It's worse. I mean, these guys, so don't get me wrong, it may not be as juicy and sexual, perhaps, allegedly, but it is, if I walked into any of these places, I would probably fire all of them. If I got to look behind the curtain on how they did their job.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe there'd be a lot less information out there, but I'd be fine with that. Because it is just the way people, to be first, the way, and I know a lot of people want this information.
You have to sell your soul.
It is not good.
Yeah.
And so what she did was obviously juicy, and she's a woman, and so that added to one element of it.
Well, and it didn't help that she went on. They had all of these clips of her going on other podcasts, and I like Diana Rossini. I do, because she goes on these other shows that I like, and she is entertaining, and she's fun with it, and she plays along with bits. But the other thing she was doing is self-deprecating, like we do on this show. But she was shitting on her husband constantly, and they had a clip package of like 4 minutes of it. So that didn't help matters either for her. But yeah, Schefter is way worse than, I'm sorry, like she's covering football. It's not that big a deal. But what Schefter does is equally, or if not more, disgusting to me.
Bruce Feldman was the name I was looking for.
Oh,
and look, I've had conversations with Bruce and like have generally liked him as a person. There are people, but it is the nature of that business, the information trading business.
Yeah.
That is a side of journalism like that insider stuff.
Why doesn't Los become an insider? Really, why wouldn't you become an insider? He's perfect for it. Loves to be hated. Come on.
Yeah. So yeah, what she did was or allegedly did, is.
But what do you want? Vrabel fired because
no, he didn't.
Infidelities. Half the league would be fired.
Right. 100%. You can't do that. Do you have anything else? Masters,
should we be depressed that the Pistons lost game one? The more depressing thing of losing game one is that there's not another game for Wednesday. So you have to hear everybody's Pistons hot takes. Like Michigan fan Jordan is texting me. He's watched like 3 fucking NBA games all year, and he's telling me that the Magic are better than the Pistons. And you'd rather, I mean, they just played the play-in game to get to play us, and now we're depressed because we lost game one. I'm sitting there like, man, what the fuck is going on here? And Jalen Duren doesn't deserve a supermax extension, and he's not even a good 2. And
he's going to be second-team All-NBA.
Jesus, I know. This is the takes after the fact. It's like,
and don't get me wrong, it's a tough matchup because it's very much, and the thing I tweeted out in my NBA tweet here, but it's very similar to like a situation in an NCAA tournament where you see an 8 seed in a bracket that underachieved all year. It's like Kentucky or somebody. You're like, oh boy, that's a tough second round matchup for a 1. Yeah. And it's almost unfair to the 1. It's like, how did that team wind up at an 8 just because they underachieved? Orlando was this dysfunctional team. They did have some injuries, poorly coached. But when you go pound for pound, like if you go before the season, they were plus 600 to win the East. The Pistons were plus 1,100. Like talent-wise, pound for pound. Now, Duren developed into something more. Cade took another step. The whole thing is better in Detroit. And I believe the Pistons are a better team.
Well, our star player just had a collapsed lung. I know why people are treating that like a fucking hangnail or something, but he did, so he's coming back from that.
And you should get to, I think you should get to the best. I've heard different people suggest you should get more home games in the first round and then I don't think you need to do that. What I think you need to do is from the play-in teams, the 2 that make it, the 7 and 8 seed, the number 1 seed gets to choose who they want. Because that, first of all, it would help you scout, and because one of the other challenges is the other teams are playing, they're in playoff mode, and you don't even know 100% who you're playing and all this stuff. But you should get, because there's no way they would have chosen the Sixers in this situation. They'd rather play the Sixers. Now, besides all that, if you're 160 games, you're the number 1 seed, you got to go out and get the job done. And it's not supposed to always be easy. And the NBA is deep. Look at the West too. And the NBA, frankly, should want the Pistons to win. So if you're the NBA, you got to get some calls here because the Pistons are the team that gave a shit during the regular season all year, pushed itself all year, playing this underachieving, once rising Magic team. If the Pistons lose this, the idea that the regular season is worth anything really takes a hit, right? The idea that, well, you can have all this talent the Magic did. You were kind of a dark horse team to win the East before the season. They have this crappy season, and they turn it on in the playoffs and beat this team that cared every night, and that's part of the reason they got to 60. There's no doubt there are probably 5 or 6 teams that are better than them, but they still cared every night. That's what you want. If the 1 seed can't get past the 8 because of the regular season just doesn't matter, then
because that's the narrative that's been going around. Sure. The Pistons played too hard all season, and these teams, they like to just get through and get to the playoffs, and that's when they crank it up and turn it up. Yeah. Adam Silver already has a problem on his hands. But yes, if the Pistons lose in the first round of the Magic, he's going to have an even bigger one.
Let's
just stop panicking after one game, right?
And Wednesday night will be, look, it's a huge game, and the Pistons have to win it. I mean, it's not, the series is over, but,
it's a must-win. It's okay. Well, they have to play defense. That was the problem, is that game 1, they didn't play any defense whatsoever, and it's just that's not Pistons basketball. So
I have one more.
All right.
Spring football game, which I did not see. I've heard about from people and heard different takes and, all that stuff. But I don't feel that I'm going to be unable to cover MSU football because I missed the spring game. I'm pretty good with that.
This guy doesn't know ball.
It's actually going to help me. I think if you miss the spring game, it helps you not have bad takes. That's what I would say. Everybody should miss the spring game.
You're saying Comp has bad takes?
I'm saying the spring game.
You did a 3-hour press conference afterwards outside the stadium. This guy there.
Look, that's his business, and it's the way he makes his living. So I'm not gonna knock that down. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, I have had many bad takes after spring games. Because you see, there are players who are legendary for their great spring game that we never see again, right? And you're looking for a storyline, and you see a guy who looks okay and whatever, he was good that day, and you never really hear from him. But the take I have on the spring game is this: it winds up being just the shittiest day and a string of otherwise decent weather right around there. It was a beautiful Friday. You get a Saturday where it's like 48 to 50 degrees, really windy, cold. I mean, it just felt awful to be out there. And the whole idea of this showcase, rather than just having another practice, now that TV really isn't that involved or anything, like the whole idea is it's a family event. Players, kids get to interact with players, autographs, it's a showcase. It's a chance to bring people in that doesn't cost money to have good experiences with your program. And yet every year it's in mid to late April when the weather is half the time shitty.
Ass.
Yeah. So if you can get like 60 degrees and sunny or 65 in anything other than rain above, you're good. So what I would do is like Central Michigan, for example, and I don't know it's going to be that. It will be nice. Is tonight is having theirs Tuesday night. It doesn't have to be Saturday. Now they're trying not to compete with Michigan State and Michigan and whatnot. But if I were Michigan State, I would say we are planning a spring showcase this weekend, and a few days out, say Wednesday, we are going to take based on the weather, and we're going to pick the best day. Now, if it's a beautiful day and we're going to take Saturday at 2. But if they had done this Friday night at 6, they would have gotten a 70-degree night after work with lots of people out. It would have been just a really festive occasion. They probably would have gotten a bigger crowd, been a more fun environment. I know that's hard to plan from. I'm not asking you to plan like 4. You can't hold other practice days open, but you could do Friday, Saturday, Sunday is a way to sort of have it one of those 3 days. That would be my way of sort of solving as best you can in the Midwest. You may get a crappy weekend overall, and there's nothing you can do about it. And in that case, you take the best of the days, or you just say it's canceled. We're going to have a practice indoors. Don't worry about it. Nobody wants this. But that would be my way, because spring games are all about weather. I've covered a zillion of these. Yeah. And on the beautiful days, you get great crowds, and it's a great thing. On the crappy days, it's just crappy.
Why can't you treat it like a festival as well? Like, have some fun things around it to where it's like an event.
You want tailgating.
To where not even just tailgating, though.
Well, I don't know.
Because I don't drink anymore, but I mean things outside for maybe like families to do. And like, like they have those festivals down there where they got tents and all this stuff. You can go and there's food to try and certain things. And then you get into the stadium and then watch the spring practice. And it's just not just you go to the thing, you park and you walk right in the stadium and you sit down and you watch spring football because no one gives a shit. But it is nice to see some football in the spring. And so you cater a whole event around it and then have football be like kind of thing where you walk in and go check it out.
And I don't know everything they had because I wasn't there. They might have had some really cool things going on for families and kids. It might have been more festive than some other years. But certainly you're right. You're right. The idea that the whole idea is bringing more people to you and having a great experience. And, and especially in a day and age now where you're not likely to lose, like the way the transfer portal is, this is your roster a lot more than it was even a couple years ago. So this is a chance to introduce your roster and say, now, there's an argument that spring football should go away and they should have more May, June type mini camp stuff like the NBA or NFL anyway, and that would make sense too. But if you're going to do these, I would look at
if you do it, then you still have to make it an event, though.
Yeah,
maybe even more so if you know that there's guaranteed good weather in those times.
Yeah, if you want to have people come, or you just do it behind closed doors as practice. That's okay too. Like last year, I don't think nobody. If you start winning in the fall, nobody's going to sit there and go, God damn it, they didn't have a spring game,
No, it's just something to take your kids to, as you're going to find out with Cora, that you just want to take your kids to anything that involves spinning things and outdoors and whatever to entertain them, right?
100%. We're already looking for that.
One more before we get out of here, before we do the listener takes here, is the NFL draft. It shocked me that it's this week, and it shocked me how much I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, we used to get together. I mean, this is a while ago, but like 16, 17 years ago on the weekend, because it used to start on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we would get together and it would almost be like a football Sunday all over again. And I miss those kind of times. And I just shot, because my Michigan fan Jordan does that great contest, that draft contest, and he's doing it again this year. And I just all of a sudden, like last Sunday, I go, oh shit, the draft is this week. And I just don't, other than the Detroit Lions. I mean, I definitely want to tune in to see who the Lions pick and all that. But honestly, if all of a sudden there was a news release tomorrow of who we drafted, I'd be like, no, all right. Right? I don't know if I need to sit there all weekend long and watch the thing.
It feels a week earlier than other years. And
yeah, but even if it were next week, I'm still like I'm talking about my level of giving a shit.
Oh, yeah.
And like some of the because there's some of the the safety from Ohio State, like all of a sudden he's minus 500 to go top 10. Like I had to look up who he was because I was like, who the hell are you talking about?
Well, I think part of it. Part of it is because the Lions are not in this mode anymore. Not that their draft picks aren't important; they need to have a good draft. But for a long time, this is all Lions fans had. Now it's the frustration of the season, and you just want to get to the season and start winning again and make up for last year. The draft isn't this sort of epicenter of hope anymore. That's elsewhere. The roster's too complete for
But we've had where it's later in the first round, like even when with the Stafford years where we had a good record, so we drafted later on. So yeah, maybe it has something to do with it not being in the top 10 or 15 anymore. But so what? It's just I'm talking about the draft as a whole, like even caring about that.
Yeah,
and as being a Lions fan is the only reason why I'm drawn into it. But
well, no, it
just sucks. It just sucks. Is that maybe I'm just getting older and
can I tell you?
Care anymore.
Can I make an admission?
Okay.
I didn't know the draft was this week until you just said it.
I don't blame you. Well, you just had a child.
I thought it was next week.
Yeah.
I did. I thought it was a week. I knew it was coming up, but I thought it was, because you start hearing more draft coverage. I did not realize the dates were this week.
But it just seemed like there was more mock drafts and everything going on last year.
Yeah.
So
it's yeah. We'll probably have maybe next week have Nick Baumgartner on or somebody to break down what.
As long as he's not going after anybody on Twitter, Jesus. Nick.
Apparently, we didn't ask him enough about it last time. That's my bad. I didn't realize all. I think it was it Blue Sky he actually went after people, or was it Twitter?
He's on Blue Sky too.
Oh, he's mostly on Blue Sky.
Oh, really?
That's where
okay.
I think that's where.
Oh, so he just goes on Twitter to start firing shit off at people, and then he goes back. Okay,
pretty much. Let's take a really quick break. When we come back, we will dig into your takes. Some really great stuff, and we appreciate you all being patient with us. Couch and the Rube, our Monday show, presented by our friends at Muskox Quality Flannels.
Where else can you cheer on your team, enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi, sip on handcrafted cocktails, or one of 46 beers on tap? Take your game day or date night to Cask & Company Kitchen Bar or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. Two amazing places with one awesome blended modern American Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask & Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing. Ever wonder how comfortable you can be and how good you can look? Put on a Muskox flannel and find out. Muskox has new arrivals for this fall, including the Caper Green Grand Flannel, which even makes Couch look good. Muskox is a Detroit-based flannel company that creates soft and durable flannels made to last a lifetime. They become a great partner with Couch and the Rube, not just because they make us look good and feel good, but because they're good people too, and a socially conscious company. For every $100 purchase, $10 is donated to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation. Muskox flannels are designed with 100% cotton that is ethically sourced and double brushed for softness. Feel the quality and comfort of a Muskox flannel by ordering at gomuskox.com, where Couch and the Rube listeners can enjoy $15 off their flannel purchase with the promo code HOFF. Come enjoy irresistible, award-winning, handcrafted donuts and locally roasted coffee at Groovy Donuts. Surprise your family or coworkers with special holiday designs and flavors, or put the perfect finishing touch on an event with a custom order. Birthdays, weddings, gender reveals, our friends at Groovy Donuts are your answer. Experience the Groovy Donuts difference for yourself on Lake Lansing Road in East Lansing or in Williamston. Get more information or place an order at groovydonuts.com.
Please like and subscribe to the Couch and the Rube YouTube channel. Also, download podcast episodes wherever you get your podcasts. For sponsorship opportunities, email Jason at couchandtherube.com.
Couch and the Rube, our Tuesday show, presented by our friends at Muskox Quality Flannels. GoMuskox.com, and there you can see hats and tees. They have some great hats. So if you get to a 70-degree day and you don't feel like a Muskox flannel, you can look great in a Muskox hat or T-shirt as well. And, of course, if you do order a flannel, use the promo code PEACOCK for $15 off for Couch and the Rube listeners. And not just for winter. I'm telling you, at the beach in the summer, swimwear, swaddles, whatever you want to use them for, Muskox is here for you. GoMuskox.com.
Just another little piece of business before we get started here. The winners of the March Madness contest, you guys are not forgotten as well. T has been gone for almost a week. She gets back from Chicago. We're going to get working on those, so we're going to try to get those out to you guys the next week and a half or so. So
yes.
We didn't forget about you. Apologize. But Couch decided to have a kid and not tell anybody.
Yeah, and then the T's got a sweatshop, and we got to decide whether we want Cora to be part of that, and making all the things. So
absolutely.
Got
to start them young.
Yep.
All right, Eric Schultz up first, of course. Number one, if MSU gets a transfer center who's a Big Ten caliber player that can come in and start immediately, he should be their second highest paid player behind Fears. This isn't a hot take. And 2, if MSU whiffs on getting a starting caliber center, I'll have none of Couch coming on here for the next 10 months going, well, they tried, whenever it's brought up. As my father would say, it's a results-based game. You don't get credit for not Sissokoing. Jesus. Failure here is, say it with me, unacceptable.
Unacceptable. Yes. But he's not wrong in this sense that they know that they need to add a big man, right? And so you can't not get one. And you can't not get one that allows you to chase your dreams next year. Now, it doesn't mean teams don't try and come up short sometimes, and that could happen. And that may be unacceptable. And that may be the discussion that's had down the road. But they have to find a way to have that position at the level I think the rest of their roster is going to be.
You know what bothers me, though, is that you just can't – there's nothing you can say about it. Like, you can't go, they need to get a big, like, what's going on, Izzo? Because then you sound like a hater, and then you want Izzo, the game has passed him by. So you just sit here and go, okay.
I also don't know.
Whatever you want to do, Tom.
I also don't know minute by minute what's happening and what conversations are being done. And I do think it is frustrating to some degree. I mean, there is no salary cap. There is no, I mean, you can have what is a very reasonable high offer for some of these guys, and some school like Indiana or some other place that just says, and there are only so many of these guys, we're going to spend an exorbitant amount. Now, that may be what you need to do in this situation. And to Eric's point, like, center is a marquee premium position, and they are in a spot where it shouldn't ruffle a lot of feathers. I think, I think you could even in the right scenario pay somebody more than Fears if he was, and I think he would be on board. He's going to make a ton of money as is. Now, there are, I mean, this is not just monopoly money though. I mean, like, again, the roster is not free, and it is going to be expensive anyway. And so I do have my own questions about how certain things are coming together. I've been told by people who are around that they want there to be the money for this, whatever they need to happen. But that doesn't mean it's easy to make it happen. It's not easy, and I don't know. You hear all this stuff, and we'll get into all these takes on Izzo coming up. But I don't think Izzo's sitting at home saying, well, screw it, we're just going to do it without these guys.
I don't think he is either. I don't think that's what a lot of people aren't saying that. But it's just like you can't say anything. Or you ask questions. They're like, wait a minute, what's going on? And
I think the frustrating thing for MSU fans, and I think rightfully so, is it feels like if you have a roster that has everything else, and you have a Hall of Fame coach,
and you're dying trying,
and you have a competitive market offer, which I think Michigan State does, that should be enough to land you one of these guys. And it just speaks to the market where, some of these guys, who they're represented by matters, or some of these guys, it's just strictly the dollar figure, because some are, they'll go to places where it's probably not as enticing a place to be in terms of winning next year. Although that said, you can win year to year now in college basketball very differently. Look, programs do it different year to year too. Like Illinois, for example, is going to be very good next year, I think, partly because of how many guys they've retained and who they've retained. Again, this is the same for Michigan State. That is still ideal. That is still a better situation than having to completely build a roster, because when you have to completely build a roster, the likelihood that it doesn't work is greater. That said, Michigan State has one position that they've got to solve.
And Underwood's going to Europe and getting pros that can shoot threes.
So the question is, how do they solve it? They have to solve it. They know they have to solve it. I don't think standing pat is enough to solve it. I don't think, just getting somebody to sort of compete with these guys is enough to solve it. I think they need to get a guy who's ready to play at the Big Ten level. And the best option, of course, would be Carson Cooper. But when will that happen? How quickly? What will that look like? And how much does that, again, timing can be an issue too, because if centers think Carson Cooper could come back and they're being recruited and they don't think the opening's there, and again, I don't have information I should speak that says that's the issue at all. But yeah, it is. I don't think it's entirely simple, but it also is. I get why it's frustrating, because there's no question they need it, and to not have it would be to fall short of what this roster had a chance to be.
Dominic next. Number 1, listening to Ebling is one of the cruelest punishments. He literally just rips fans for having reasonable opinions. Sorry, but it comes off like Woodward and Bernstein with Wojcik as Deep Throat. We get it, Jack. You text Tom at 4 a.m. while eating Captain Crunch in your boxers. Well, there's a visual. 2, Graham, we do this every year. One glaring need, easily identifiable. Plenty of intriguing options available. Yet, here we fucking are. Again, dicks in our hands. But if you have a thought about it when you want Izzo to retire per Ebling and the army of Twitter peens. 3, get rid of these uniforms. I hate them. They are boring. I hate the Aztec stripes on the side. We haven't won dick since we left the Script State ones. Make it happen, Couch. You owe me that much.
We talking basketball or football here?
I think he's talking hoops.
Hoops? Okay. Yeah.
I think.
Okay.
Or
yeah.
no? Is he talking football?
I have no idea. Dominic, I need more clarity. I'm sorry.
Either way.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on either the basketball or the football one?
Yeah, I don't. As long as it's not neon, that's usually my thing. I do like classics, but you know, I'm a prisoner of certain years. I grew up like I liked Blake Ezor and the big stripe, and Lorenzo White and the big stripe down the pants, and because I was, an 8-year-old kid growing up in this area. So there are certain, this is why I think uniforms are nostalgic and they're important to certain generations, and I think alternative uniforms suck largely because, like the other day, I'm watching the Red Sox Tigers. And the Red Sox have these ridiculous, they're City Connect. Yeah, yellow, whatever those are. It looks like a school bus out there. And the problem with that, or Savannah Bananas or whatever, the problem with that, it isn't on that given night, big deal. Although if you go to a game and you're there to see the Tigers Red Sox, it kind of, I don't like it. But secondly, say somebody hits for the cycle or has 4 home runs or throws a perfect game, forever, that's the uniform that's going to be called up on that. That sucks. And that's what you don't want. I don't.
Unless you win with them, but even if they, the Tigers won with these City Connect things on, they're so ass that
they're just not good uniforms.
Yeah. What's funny is you don't connect to them whatsoever.
No,
I have no connection to them.
That's the only thing I don't like about the city.
Yeah. Skiles' long pinky fingernail next. Welcome back, my friends. Let's see. There's been Rory, tiger sucking, wing sucking, tiger sucking, and not much has changed. You can come back in another couple weeks. Okay, hot take. After that display in the spring showcase, take the under on whatever season wins total you see for MSU football.
So you're still seeing 3.5. I wonder if it gets to 4.5 because there's a lot of juice to get above 3.5, at least in a couple places I've seen. Not every book has it out yet.
He's saying take the under on whatever it is.
Yeah, I wouldn't take the under 3.5. And I wouldn't. First of all, if you're an MSU fan, it just sucks to sit all year hoping they go 3-9. That's a brutal, and you need things to go
win $32.
Well, and the worst part is too, because they play Toledo and Eastern Michigan, they're likely to have 2 wins early. So then you really need the whole thing to fall apart from there. The rest of the year they can't win 2 more games, and that's just not a lot of fun. The Tigers, by the way, are 8-2 since Cora's been born. They were awful, and then she was born, and they just couldn't stop winning. So
I've got to play at home.
Yeah,
on the road
they were okay in Boston. 2-2. I mean, it wasn't awful, but the Tigers are gonna be fine. You look at that division, and I just think the Tigers are the best team in that.
How
division.
much more a torque can we take though?
It's
can
tough.
we put Kerry Carpenter at first base? I mean, how long are we going to do the torque thing all season? I guarantee you it's going to be all season, right? And then AJ Hinch with all the fucking Parker Meadows things and not pinch hitting for Carpenter with Perez. And I mean, it's just some of the. But you can't sit there and say shit about AJ Hinch because he's a managing genius.
I think you can. I think you just have to say that because there are things he does. And don't get me wrong. Their
explanation of injuries is the most frustrating, annoying. Don't even tell me. I don't want to know when Verlander's. Just let me know when he's fucking coming back. I don't know the Hemmen and Hahn. Parker Meadows was put on the 10-day IL or something like that. And he had a broken arm. Then he's on the 60-day out of nowhere. It's what is happening? They just don't tell you what you want to know.
I'll tell you one guy I like, Dylan Dinkler. That guy.
Hey, he's the man.
He's incredible.
Yeah,
incredible. Yeah.
Ryan Schultz. This show better be 3 hours long.
We missed one. Sorry.
Fuck my bad. God damn it. Who was it? Oh, Balky. I'm sorry. Balky Bartagamis. I was surprised by the Max Bullough question. Not because it was inappropriate, because I really don't understand the fascination. At the time, I remember hearing the same story from multiple people. Nothing official, of course, but all of us over 35-ish generally know what happened. I'm 47. I don't really know.
But it just hasn't been answered, and it's some. It's a show that does Twitter questions. It's been asked a lot, right? And it's been my emails and other things, and it's the sort of thing that let's put this in a rivalry context. If this was a conspiracy or conspiracy is too strong a word. I apologize, but unanswered question.
Yeah.
Down, in Ann Arbor, in Michigan.
Yeah.
The people would be like, God, their media never asked anything, and this is, and granted, there are times that they have not asked enough, right? But this is just like, and unfortunately for Connor, he went to Michigan, so people, but he doesn't think like you. You have to remember, like. And we've talked about this. I respect the hell out of fandom. I wish I had more of it. I think I'm gonna decide to. I'm gonna try next year as a experiment. Coventry City, who I've kind of liked for a couple of years. I enjoyed their almost run through the playoffs. I enjoyed their run through the FA Cup. And I've been to Coventry in England, and they are getting promoted to the Premier League.
Soccer is boring.
So I am going to make the conscious decision to be a Coventry City fan next year and see if it sticks. I'm not going to put money on them. I'm just going to try and do what I'm told that every 35-year-old hipster has been able to do, which is consciously choose to be a fan, which I don't believe can be done, and have it become something that's in your soul. I'm going to try that with Coventry City in the Premier League. But to my point, I got off.
What does that have to do with Max Bullough?
Great question.
The all-timer from you.
Great question. Point being, Connor Eargood does not wired like that. Like there's part of fandom is in the beauty of it. It is mental illness, right? It is something that is just ingrained in you. You can't shed. It makes you think differently about things. It makes you defensive. Like Max Bullough, you wondered that question when he was at Notre Dame. He comes to Michigan State. It's like, don't mess with Max. He's one of ours again. Like that. I mean, I understand all that, and I understand not everybody has the same level of intrigue about it too. I'm just nosy. Honestly, you can just insert whatever team he used to play for here, and I'd be like, why do you miss that game? I'm intrigued. Well, but then I go about my life, and then July topics come, and you go, what are 4 intriguing questions that have never been answered about Michigan State athletics? And then we always go, all right, blah, 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 and we name them. Yeah, it's Max Bullough.
Yeah. I'm interested. I would love to know the Jeff Smoker, like what was going down with him too.
Absolutely.
Right. Like I don't know. People love a redemption story, so. Anyway, Ryan Schultz. This show better be 3 hours long. How dare you leave us alone with our thoughts for 2 weeks right after Scum wins the Natty?
Yeah, I apologize on the timing on that. It was not intentional. We thought, like I said, May 9th, and I can't even remember the last show we did the week before, if it was Wednesday or Tuesday or whatever it was. We had I
think it was a Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah, because we had an appointment Wednesday, and that was the first time we thought, oh, she's going to come early. But it wasn't supposed to be this early. It was supposed to be like, induced probably this week sometime. And then Friday, we went to another appointment, separate thing, and they were basically like, you don't have to go straight to the hospital. You can stop home, but you have to go to the hospital. And we were like, we didn't, like, it was like a 7:30 a.m. appointment Friday. Like we woke up that day, and of course Elizabeth had her hospital bag packed a month in advance. I did not, naturally, so I had to get home, and you're scrambling. The car seat's still in the box.
Muskox and flip-flops. What the fuck you had to pack?
Yeah, it's fair enough. No, I think I might have worn this very specific muskox that I'm wearing today to the hospital.
That whole outfit you wore, I think.
But yeah, no. So we did not see it coming. Apologize.
I know. Then Couch texted me. It was amazing. Oh, man. All right, Matt Salisbury, number 1, Pistons losing game 1. Hopefully kick them in the ass that they got to do more than try hard. 2, I have a fear Izzo is waiting on the 5th-year rule before he really does anything and is going to get left with nothing. Well, okay. Yeah, I mean, the Pistons, we're going to get into them more, and they do have to. Look, this is there's no way Izzo's waiting for Cooper that decision, right? I mean,
he may want it. And look, if I'm Tom Izzo, one of the things I'm doing is you are as connected as anybody in and the NCAA and NCAA basketball as a coach. Yeah. You should make a million calls about what's the likelihood this is going to happen, the timeline. You should know before it's announced whether it sounds like it would be retroactive to somebody like Cooper, who's just graduating now, and I think it probably would be. You should know whether it's likely to happen, whether it's going to fit your timeline, all that sort of stuff. Because it matters, and look, it's going to matter across the board. Even though scholarships have increased, think about it. Every roster for next year has already signed their high school kids. They're signing the portal. If all of a sudden you have, like, there's one mid-major program. It's a small low major program. I think I could have this number wrong, but I think there's 7 4-year seniors, all who would like to come back. Like, they don't know. Like, it's like, wait a sec, is our roster coming back or not? And then, so this is going to cause a huge mess. I actually don't think in the long term it's a good thing necessarily. I think it's too bad that a guy who's, barely played very sparingly as a freshman and is just now turning 22 years old, is falls into a category where you got guys who are 25 and that aren't too old, and maybe there are rules that need to be looked at. But I think the 4-year rule is probably about the right amount of time to play college in a sport,
well, yeah, after next year, make the rule like Cooper can come back and then we can go back to normal.
Yeah,
Sunshine Smart. The Pistons definitely are not the real number one. They might lose to the Magic.
Well, they are the number one seed because they won 60 games, and they showed up every night.
Apparently they're terrible.
And they were really good. And then when Cade Cunningham got hurt and everybody again thought, well, they're going to lose the number one seed, they just kept winning because they cared, and they're better than people think. And look, they've got to show up in the playoffs. There's no doubt. It's got to translate. And they're not a perfect roster. We all know that. And they're up against a team that physically can battle with them more than some others. Like they would have kicked the shit out of Charlotte, right? They would have
literally
beaten Philly.
Probably. Yeah, guys would have been suspended. That's why I didn't want to play Charlotte.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
So this is a tough matchup, and it's feeding into stuff that national writers wanted to do all year. It's look, there's some people in the national media are great who watch a lot of hoops. There are other people who are just waiting to dog on Detroit. You see it in everything. But the Pistons also have to prove it. Like if you lose, the beauty of a 7-game series is that the best team almost always wins in basketball. It's one of my favorite things about the NBA playoffs is the contrast between the NCAA tournament, which I love, and the NBA playoffs, and even the Stanley Cup playoffs, which bother me that because of hot goalies and there's so many upsets in 7-game series, it dilutes the regular season. I love in the NBA that seeding can matter because ultimately the best team usually wins. Doesn't mean the higher seed all the time, but if the Pistons don't win this series, it's very hard for them to say they're better than the Magic, that it wasn't deserved. There was a fluky night. They didn't show up. They were rusty. Somebody was hurt. Somebody was off. You play 7 games. And so if they're better than the Orlando Magic, they'll win 4 of these games.
Professor next. Number 1, if MSU does not shore up the center position, it is an absolute slap in the face to the guys on the team not named Jesse McCullough. And 2, in the current climate, why would you stay at a place that is undermanned when you can make more money, make more, and win somewhere else? Loyalty died a long time ago.
So the first part, it's not just, if they don't get the, I think it's also, I don't know, slap in the face it's not, but it's also unfair to Jesse McCullough and to Ethan Taylor because ultimately, if those guys wind up being ready beyond our expectations, beyond what we've seen, and that could happen, then that's fine. But if they're not, the problem is we've all seen what happens when people become sort of the hated player on the team to fans because they're not good enough. And a lot of times it's unfair that they're being put in a position. Think about Denim Wojcik this year. Denim Wojcik was playing his ass off through a shoulder injury and was doing his very best. But he's a lightning rod because, of the coaching decisions to put him in and whether that, whether they should have done other things or not. But it had nothing to do with his effort. And the same thing could happen to somebody like Jesse McCullough if he's in a role that's too big for him. Think about back in the day with Kenny Goins when he was a redshirt freshman or sophomore, whatever it was, the year that it was his redshirt freshman year when he was playing center at 6'6" or whatever he was, 6'7" barely, along with Nick Ward because they had injuries to Gavin Schilling and Ben Carter, and they just weren't good enough there. And like he was this sort of lightning rod of and he became, obviously, if he hit a shot over Zion Williamson to send Michigan State to the Final Four, you're going to be beloved after all. But he took a lot of grief. And he took a lot of grief, not because he wasn't playing his ass off, doing everything he could, is because he was playing a position he wasn't capable of playing or in a role he wasn't capable of being in. So to me, you also want to protect the guys who are in that role to be able to develop at the pace they want to. One of the things that was unfair to Cooper and Kohler early on was the amount, and part of this was Sissoko not developing as they hoped he would, and then not supplementing that position when he didn't, so that those guys, when they weren't quite ready yet, especially when they were freshmen, but even their sophomore years were, their junior and senior years were their performance years. They deserved to have nobody in front of them, and they weren't, and they performed very well. But those first 2 years, they took grief because they weren't as good as MSU needed them to be, but they also were being asked to do too much.
Ralph E. next. Missed you guys. If the NCAA goes to 5th year of eligibility this summer, and if MSU signs a portal player, is there room for Carson Cooper? He doesn't have to be on scholarship to get paid, does he? And if players get a fifth year, does Carr stay another one?
I don't think scholarships will be the issue. I think they'll be fine there numbers-wise. But the fifth year changes things going forward. Now, it wouldn't change things for like Jeremy Fears because, again, the red shirt goes away, right? It's just the fifth year thing. It doesn't change things. Like for some guys who have redshirted, like Jesse McCullough, that red shirt now, I'm not saying it was pointless because he got a lot out of that year, but it won't matter. That red shirt doesn't give you a sixth year now. But certainly it opens the possibility for anybody who's a true 4-year senior to come back, and there will be great stories of that, but it'll also block the development of younger players. Some places it'll work, some places it won't, but overall as a numbers game, I don't think it helps. I don't think it helps freshmen in the recruiting pitch, and I think it adds to transfers too. So the problem with this is if you are coming out of high school, and this is happening a lot more now, guys who used to be high major guys are going mid-major guys are going D2, things like that. And you're much more like, you're better than that. So you're going to go somewhere, play a year or two, and then transfer up. Whereas if you start at the level you probably can get to, you're much less likely to transfer anyway. So, and maybe it's good for the lower levels to get those guys for a year or two, whatever. Maybe. I don't know. But I don't think it's good overall. I tend not to love this fifth-year thing. And, again, there are certain things that you can convince me of an argument the other way. This is one of them. I could hear an argument. I'm open to it. But what I see right now, I just see more trouble with it in the long term. But in the short term, for Michigan State basketball and Carson Cooper perhaps, or Jackson Kohler, and I think Cooper fits what they need more right now. But, Kohler would absolutely fit that as well. I don't know what his thoughts are on the matter either. So it would help.
He did tweet out Spartan Dog for life today before the show. So
Kohler did?
Yeah. No, Cooper.
Who knows?
Is that a tea leaf to read?
Are we saying the show is already out of date? No, I don't think that.
No, I'm not saying that he announced I'm back forever. Now I'm back for another year, but I mean,
there are a couple people I keep on my phone. The one guy I would follow, and we talk about newsbreakers. This is a guy I think does it right. He does not do it with Ross Dellinger. Who's for Yahoo Sports and occasionally writes for On3.com. And I have my issues with On3, but writes for Yahoo. I think does it right. I don't think he's well sourced. He gets things early, but he's not somebody who's it's just done well. Like if Ross Dellinger was covering any single sport, and there's part of me that thinks he probably should be covering something else besides sports because he's that good. But nonetheless, like he's somebody worth following on Twitter because as
he knows Carson Cooper. I mean, what are you talking about?
Well, as things happen, like he's one of those guys. If I hear something might be happening, I go to his Twitter feed, and that means you're really respected. And if I don't,
if Graham goes right to your Twitter feed,
no, if anybody goes to you, is what
Respect.
I mean is so if I don't see it from him or a story by him, I wait for that before I believe it.
Alex Mayer. Number one, a fifth year of Cooper is the absolute best case scenario at this point. Not confident it happens, though. And two, the fact that the spring game is not aired anywhere, even delayed, is a big deal that administration should get corrected. That shouldn't happen in 2026.
I didn't even realize this. I assumed it was on.
But why? I mean, if you're going to go like that,
would
that kill attendance if you put it on TV?
I think coaches don't want it on TV.
Right.
Coaches don't want it, and now the transfer portal has moved, but who knows what will eventually happen. They don't want their players on display to be poached in the spring. And when the transfer portal for football was open in the spring, now it's just in January. Right now there's one of them. But when it was open in the spring, I understood it. Like you have a freshman running back who shows out on Big Ten Network in the spring game, all of a sudden he becomes a lot more expensive to keep. So I understood why they didn't like it, and they were just doing regular spring practices. So I don't know. I mean, if you, it's one of those things that you don't even need to have them, but if you do have them on the best weather day of a weekend. Choose out of the three. It's for the people who are there. It's an experience. I don't have any problem with it.
Fear Spartans next. Izzo going for another got the most out of his guys season instead of this is a national title contender is not dying trying. Here's to hoping Coop gets a fifth year. Though would be returning Coop even mean much if everyone else could bring back their guys for a fifth year. Imagine UConn with a fifth year, Reed or Caravan.
Right, there is that element of things. Now, some places will be ready to move on and supplant those positions. I think for Michigan State in this scenario, it would be a big deal because that's the position to shore up. And Cooper I think, has a higher upside still to go than maybe Reed or Caravan. And what I don't mean he's a better player necessarily than Caravan or Reed, and he's a different player. But what I mean is those guys, I think, are closer to their ceiling than Cooper is. And I think we've seen that this year. Just think of who Cooper was offensively before this year and who he was this year at playing this year at 21 years old and how much he's developed. And I think there's another level for Cooper that makes him one of the more intriguing fifth-year guys of anybody.
Spartholomew, Izzo builds a roster like he's white Brad Holmes, except he actually wants to win a championship. Still won't bleed to win one, though. And bonus, glad you guys are back. Hope all is or will be well with the both of you.
Yeah, we're good. Appreciate you, Spartholomew. Who also just tweeted at us, congrats on the sex, Graham. So thank you for very, very, very solid.
Congrats on the sex. Oh, shit. Sparty Barb, hopeful take. The NCAA validates the fifth-year extension to current players by June 1st, and Carson Cooper returns to MSU. And vacation take. Paris in April is fantastic. Great food, great wine, and no crazy weather.
I love Paris.
Sparty Barb getting lit.
Yeah. But the thing about Paris that's amazing in the wine in France is they don't use the same preservatives that we do. Yeah. So you don't feel hungover the next day.
Really?
You can drink a ton and feel feel fantastic. Paris is fun. It's
a wine mouth.
It's not one of the it's a great place. It's like there are a lot of places I want to visit again before I go back to Paris, but I'd like to go again in my life.
MZA, unless Izzo is absolutely sure that Cooper is getting a fifth year, going all in on Anton Bonke, is that how you say his name? Anton Bonke, is not dying trying. Michigan, meanwhile, is getting visits from infinitely better players like Mustafa Tiem without even being in the race initially. Izzo's getting left in the dust. And from Moneyball, Izzo better have a good inkling about the fifth year thing. If we're not willing to do what it takes in the portal, now we never will.
So one of the things, and again, I don't know that things are going to work out for Michigan State. I don't. I do know that they've had traction on some guys and have traction on some guys. What I would say is they are also not as they don't seem to share as much. And this is just the things seem to happen, and you don't necessarily see them coming until they do commit. And again, that does not mean that this will work out. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, they're a harder team to read through social media visits and mentions, and it's just a little less public, it seems. And I think that's intentional too, because I think it is tricky when you're trying to, you're recruiting multiple guys like this, and you've got one spot maybe, right? And you're now you ultimately you left getting none of them. But I sometimes think that there's a little too much reaction to every tweet about what one guy is thinking. Now, when somebody says they're going someplace else and that's somebody Michigan State clearly was in on, there's no doubt that stuff stings. But I've been a little out of the loop for 10 days, so I apologize for some of that. But let's see where it goes. Let's see what happens. And there may be a point to have real criticism or panic or need a better explanation on why they're unable to do something. But let's see that happen. And I also understand, though, from MZA's point, from Moneyball's point, and a lot of other people's points, that their track record on this makes people nervous.
Bob in Fort Myers next. Wisconsin star guard from Bloomfield Hills is headed to Duke. Michigan is reloading. UConn is reloading. Indiana, Illinois, Texas, St. John's, Tennessee, and Louisville, all with huge portal grabs. While it feels like Izzo is down at Sundance Chevrolet's used car lot kicking the tires on a fixer-upper. This is demoralizing. If I make a buck, it's sure luck.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
If people aren't from this area, there's Sundance Chevrolets and
Terry Hanks.
Yeah. The commercials
since we were a kid.
Famous, yeah.
Since we were young boys.
Oh, man.
I loved his commercials because there was always outtakes in the actual commercial. Like he would screw up reading it. And I thought that was brilliant.
Which is why
because it made you listen to, I'm just saying, but it makes you listen to the commercials more is if you know a guy's going to screw up.
Yeah.
You don't want someone polished, especially note to all podcast people. It's like you don't want someone that does, polished kind of 2-minute live reads.
No, because it doesn't sound
That's
real.
why couches are the best. All of a sudden he'll go off on some tangent about some soccer team when you ask him about Bullough, and then he goes into a live read, and those are amazing. Keep you listening.
And in terms of average, I guarantee you that Sundance was the first car dealer I knew existed.
Oh, sure.
Just in terms of commercial, in terms of quality and not quality, repetition. Yeah, right.
About to say, are they a sponsor all of a sudden? Why are we kissing their ass? Lying now?
Yeah, sorry. No, but no, I'm not. I'm just saying they were. I mean, your impersonation of them just, brings back all the memories. I mean, I don't remember.
Always wore a cowboy hat. Yeah, make a bucket. Sure, look, he's still kicking too. By the way, they have him in the commercials now.
Absolutely. Look, we'll see what happens. Duke does sound like they're in on
no
John Blackwell. Let's see what it looks like. You keep it like Michigan State has reloaded though. Like think of it in terms, Bob, of this. Everybody else on Michigan State's roster pretend that 2/3 of them they just gotten through the portal. Okay. And see if you feel a little different about it.
No.
Okay.
No. Sorry. Okay. Trick, is there a 6'10" Wojcik kid hanging around that nobody knows about? Any idea on how they approach portal offers? Do they have multiple offers out, and first to accept gets it?
That sometimes happens in recruiting. You get, especially in high school recruiting, or they'll have a priority, or they'll say, we'd like you to do this, but we need you to commit now. Otherwise, there's a kid who's ready to commit, and they have to make choices like that. That happens, and I'm sure it happens in the portal as well. Generally, from what they're not just. I mean, they're a little more selective on who they want, and my understanding with most of the guys they've gotten is they've targeted them. That's been who they've wanted. They haven't said, they're not making multiple offers at once, but you have to pivot quickly, right? So if one guy doesn't look like he's going to work out, you do then go ahead and offer somebody else and let them know that they're the priority.
Rich Searing next. Number one, I understand Izzo wanting to be loyal to those he recruited and doesn't want to recruit over them out of the portal. However, what about loyalty to the other players to get them the best possible teammates to get a title? Doesn't he owe that to them? And two, Bedunga and Sherrill would have both been great for MSU. I see other schools swooping in and getting high-end guys right away. What the hell is the deal? Thiem, Diop? Both look like studs. Bonke has size but just doesn't look very quick laterally. Why does it always seem like Izzo just settles? And bonus, I'm beginning to think Michigan's success has driven up the prices of big men to the point that they're overpriced. Maybe Illinois has the right idea where you can get them overseas for way cheaper.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And again, I think all of these, there should be questions about how you paid for this. Because it's supposed to be.
Do the Euro guys take less money just because they're European? Like they have no idea?
I don't think it's that much less.
Hey, guys, $200,000.
Yeah. They have
okay, perfect.
They have some of their own agents, too. It's
deal. I don't read the internet. What the fuck you mean? You can go overseas, get them for way cheaper.
I do think, though, that this needs to be a question that's asked, right? If what's happening is clearly outside what's supposed to be able to be happen in the system, again, that's fine, right? If everybody's doing it, everybody's doing it. But if our job is to ask and to hold account and to say, well, how the hell is this actually happening? Somebody should ask it. We're not. The job is not to be a cheerleader, And again, it is certain places. If you're working at ilovespartans.com and you're writing for them, then I get it that your job is to promote. You're not actually covering. You may be covering the team, but you're promoting the team. But the job is also to explain and to hold accountable and to and not to cheerlead and to figure out what's happening here. And there are a lot of questions, and frankly, I haven't done a good job of this either. And really explaining to people how this is possible. And it's hard though. It is hard to explain what money people have and where it's coming from, because it is stuff that's pretty. It's sort of in the dark, but. I think it's something that needs to be worked on by myself and by every other writer.
Speaking of iWriteSpartans.com, can you tell Harns that what did you think was going to happen when you post video of the Michigan State football players doing that drill where they spin with the bats and you look like an asshole? The trick you used to do at parties to watch people fall on their face. Did you think that posting that video wasn't going to get to any of the rivals or people that want to shit on Michigan State, Harns, at all? Did you? Or you just want to get it out so you can get your 300 likes for some reason?
Well, they were just having a fun game, right? Who cares?
I understand, but it just looks poorly on the athlete. I mean, anytime you want to, people are going to post that stupid video.
But again, that's not what I want from David Harns and people like him.
Harns.
Is I don't want them not showing stuff to protect Michigan. That's not his job.
Protect him. It is. It's got to be something.
Okay.
Anyway, Scotty Green's El Camino, welcome back. What was that? Did you guys get arrested for theft of a cat? Max Bullough isn't helping himself. If Rose Bowl was something mundane, like he got drunk, punched a guy, etc., it would be out already. So we draw our own conclusions, likely much worse than what actually happened.
So speaking of cats, you know who's not handling this well?
It's got to be Spot.
Spot, yeah.
Devastated.
Because we have sort of changed the rules of where Spot can go in the house.
Oh, you let Spot in still?
No. Well, in the kitchen area that's not carpeted with
Spot.
one door that swings shut so you can still feed him. But that's it.
Jesus, might as well just put him in the garbage can.
Right. And he just looks at this door that's shut to him, that's never been shut to him in his life, and doesn't understand. He paws at it. He doesn't know what to do, and then I make him leave. It's just, he's not happy. And he's even starting to, like, when I'll, like, pet him a little bit, he'll kind of withdraw, like, listen, punk, I don't know what's going on here. He's not
Just
happy.
looks at you through the window.
But ultimately, like,
how you betrayed him.
He's not our cat. Like, it comes down to that, right? So we don't know where he goes, and we don't know what he gets into, and we have
what makes you feel
house.
better at night when you sleep?
Yeah, something like
You know what? He's not our cat, so
I am probably going to set it up. There's another entrance from the patio to our den, which I may let him in because there's a couch in there he likes to sit on that would be separate from where the.
But when are babies
goes.
okay to be around cats?
It's a great question. But Spot's a predator too. We don't even know what Spot would do. I mean, I've introduced
to a baby. You let this thing in the house, and you're wondering, like, you're skeptical of what it could do around a baby.
Well, Spot's like the Omar of the neighborhood from The Wire, right? Other cats don't come in. We haven't seen another cat in our neighborhood in a long time.
Yeah, because he's got two different parents at different households. He doesn't know how to act. It's like me in 1988. I'm like, oh, shit, I get presents over here, too? That's amazing. My birthday and Christmas is fucking awesome.
It is
and you guys don't argue anymore except when you drop me off? It's so great. What are we talking about? Oh, Jay Riemenschneider. There's a very good That's a very good reason to be off for a week, Mr. Couch, and good job never ever talking about it.
Appreciate you, Jay. The only reason I corrected you there is I knew it has a very, very different meaning there versus that.
Make sure we get exactly what Jay wants to portray.
No, because if you said there, then there is a very good reason. Then it would sound like.
Are you mansplaining?
I'm mansplaining, sorry. I apologize.
So what's he talking about, though? That you didn't announce it, except for on Jack Ebling's show?
I think he listens to Ebling, yeah.
Wait, how did Ebling know? How'd you tell Ebling?
I told Ebling at some point during the week.
And he just blurted it on his show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Nobody else did but Jack.
What else could we get Ebling to say to see if anybody's listening? Just become a Holocaust denier or something like that? See if anybody's like, hey, man, what's going on with the show? Imagine if you just became 2 hours of a Holocaust denier and all of a sudden no one paid attention.
Sponsored by Graf Chevrolet.
Yeah. Even Graf didn't hear it. Really? 6 million people? Kurt in Chi-Town. Number one, what are your thoughts on Rory boasting that he ditched 3 PGA tourneys to use his private jet like an Uber to play Augusta every day for a month before the Masters? I have never heard of another golfer doing such a thing. Then Rory shit on the tourneys he ditched, one of which, the Texas Children's Houston Open, which benefits a children's hospital. In my opinion, classless and devoid of sportsmanship. F1 and NASCAR do not let drivers practice in advance on tracks for obvious reasons. And 2, even with the Pistons rolling after March Madness, I'm struggling to get into the NBA playoffs. Am I alone on this? The NBA is hard to watch. It really is. It's
even
a
the
hard,
playoffs. I mean,
dude,
the playoffs.
it's just a hard. The foul baiting. Like, I'm not saying, I don't want to have a take to where I think SGA is ass, but it's ass watching him and watching him exploit the rules. And it's just
like watching Minnesota.
The foul baiting stuff drives me nuts. And LeBron, when he starts doing it, it's just really disturbing.
Minnesota-Denver, great game. And 2 teams I enjoy watching. I think there are some mismatches in this first round. I think once you get to the second round, I don't know. I just love the NBA playoffs. It's a different deal. Did you have a problem with Rory?
I don't remember him ripping or ditching or shitting on the Texas Children's Houston Open, but a lot of those guys, especially if you're a well-established player like Rory is, you don't have to play those tournaments. I don't think it's because it's a children's hospital. I'm sure Rory donates a lot of money. And you fly in and you get to play the course and bragging about, sometimes these guys, their lives are a lot different than ours and they don't make any sense. And the fact that you can you can drop your child off at school, hop on a plane, go play Augusta and come back is wild. And maybe you shouldn't boast about that, in a presser, but I think Rory's great for the game. I'm happy that he won his second Masters. And I just think a lot of players can go do this, by the way, too. Like that was the other thing that was mentioned. Is it's not just because Rory won it last year. If you're a player and you want to get down there and you can play before in that gap a period of time for some of those tournaments, if you want to ditch that tournament and go play the Masters and do all that stuff, I think you can do it. But I don't know if you shit on Rory for doing that. They live crazy, insane lives. The golfers do.
Yeah, I'm happy for Rory too. I mean, I don't know. I really became a Rory fan during the whole live thing, and I know there's some, everybody's got their own shit, but like to me, the way he stuck up for and became the voice of the PGA in that sense, I really respect it.
He's great for golfing. Yeah. Those guys, they backpedal, they're hypocrites. It's just like you can take so many things away from those guys. Dino Spumoni next. Does Couch have a hot take on the Russini-Vrabel story? Or is it really not that big of a deal and more common than people would think?
It's not more common. It's not something I know a lot of.
I don't know, but listening to a lot of people say there's a lot of people that are like Michelle Beadle, for instance, is saying don't throw shade. A lot of these women reporters are throwing shade on Diana Russini. She's like, I know stories about a lot of you guys, so I don't know. I've heard other stories about Diana Russini too from the past.
I'm not saying there aren't examples of it out there, but I just think the great percentage of them, and maybe in the national media with people who are on TV who are maybe there are more of this than else. I just is somebody who's been around women covering sports for like 24 years now, more than that, going back to college. Like I've just seen a lot of women in locker rooms. I've seen what they have to deal with. I've seen a lot of them be very professional. I've seen a few unprofessional cases. I've seen women have to check other women, especially interns that come in dressed way too like.
Yeah, but that's just women anywhere though.
But I'm just saying, like you really
go
do
to
have
any
to
office and see that.
Well, you don't want to walk into an NFL locker room dressed a certain way. That's just, you're not making yourself respected. And I've seen other women check young reporters that way. But like for the most part, man, it's not. That's not what you see out there now. What we talked about earlier is, I think what Schefter and Woj and Shams and these guys do is just as bad. Like it's just
Woj has been out of it for what, 2 years now?
It doesn't mean he didn't make a living.
He tried selling his phones that he broke a story on. Yeah, he's a penis. We absolutely know about those.
Now, he was an incredible reporter before that, incredible columnist. Like he was a great writer before he did that part of the job.
I'll believe you on that.
Well, a lot of people loved his stuff.
But I never read anything of his.
Okay, there you go. Well, then that's the problem. You didn't read anything until he sold his soul, and that's the problem. That's why people
should we stop caring about the first? I only follow Schefter so that I can get story updates, right? I guess
I feel
like I don't know. Maybe if people are souring on the have to be first angle of it.
I feel dirty when I rely on Schefter for something, but I do sometimes, and I feel like I know the world he lives in. I don't like it, and
name the last thing that you relied on him for that you couldn't get. I feel like if you go on Twitter, like everybody has whatever story you're looking for. There's going to be announced somewhere.
Yeah,
right. Like you don't know who's first. I don't know who's first.
And he's not like I brought up Ross Dellinger earlier as somebody who I respect, who I look for as a trusted source. That is not what the way it is with Schefter for me, and it's not that I think he's wrong often, but he hems and haws about things. He sort of it's just the whole things, and all these guys, the stuff they do for agents. It's just not. Yeah.
I know Michigan fan Jordan sends me Schefter's text. He's like, the agents are tweeting this. Like this isn't even him. And I'm
the worst. They say, this agency did this all this work. They take these average players and they tout them up like he did this. They just signed the third team All-American from his second year. They bring up his best attributes even when the guy sucks sometimes. It's disgusting.
But it's also kind of like no shit, because how are you going to get that kind of information if you're not going to be a shill? Why would people sit there and knowingly give you info?
Well, I would love to live in a day where some people are just really good, and there are ways to get it. Maybe it doesn't happen as instantaneous. Maybe not everything is done before it's announced. Maybe things aren't quite as quick, but we're at least getting it without having to
Oh, so everybody just throw your phone out your window. And all of your technology.
No, I'm just saying the way some of these
go back to newspapers like Graham wants us to.
No, not saying that. It can come
remember
on
when the news just used to hit? The paper used to hit your front porch, and that's when you'd get the news. I miss those days. Like, yeah, I understand.
I'm just saying if nobody was on their knees, then we would then nobody would get any information
Vrabel
that way.
Rossini?
I'm saying Schefter.
Oh, he's on his knee. Oh, Jesus.
I'm not saying literally. I'm saying figuratively. Damn it. Let's take a Let's take a really quick break. When we come back, more of your takes. Couch and the Rube, our Tuesday show, presented by our friends at Muskox Quality Flannels.
Firekeeper's Online Casino and Sportsbook is the site to play from your phone, tablet, or laptop. Get in on all the football action with pre- and in-game wagering. There's showdowns every week in football that you can't miss. Plus, the college and pro hoops are red hot, and the pucks are cool. Get your first casino deposit and sports wager matched up to $500 each. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117. Where else can you cheer on your team? Enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi. Sip on handcrafted cocktails or one of 46 beers on tap. Take your game day or date night to Cask & Company Kitchen Bar or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. 2 amazing places with 1 awesome blended modern American Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask & Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing. Ever wonder how comfortable you can be and how good you can look? Put on a Muskox flannel and find out. Muskox has new arrivals for this fall, including the Caper Green Grand Flannel, which even makes Couch look good. Muskox is a Detroit-based flannel company that creates soft and durable flannels made to last a lifetime. They become a great partner with Couch and the Rube, not just because they make us look good and feel good, but because they're good people too, and a socially conscious company. For every $100 purchase, $10 is donated to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation. Muskox flannels are designed with 100% cotton that is ethically sourced and double brushed for softness. Feel the quality and comfort of a Muskox flannel by ordering at gomuskox.com, where Couch and the Rube listeners can enjoy $15 off their flannel purchase with the promo code HOFF.
Please like and subscribe to the Couch and the Rube YouTube channel. Also, download podcast episodes wherever you get your podcasts. For sponsorship opportunities, email Jason at couchandtherube.com.
Couch and the Rube, our Tuesday show, presented by our friends at Muskox Quality Flannels this spring and summer. Make sure on those cool summer nights on the patio, at the beach, wherever it is, that you've got a Muskox flannel. You get out of the lake, shivering a little, right? Dry off, put on a Muskox flannel. You look good around the fire, feel good, and of course, great for baby swaddling as well. GoMuskox.com, and Couch and the Rube listeners can get $15 off a flannel purchase with the promo code PEACOCK. Jason.
I've only been on this earth less than a month, and I'm already sick of my dad's takes. Put down the donuts and get me some milk.
That's Cora Couch, by the way. Max Spade, if the Pistons don't blow out Orlando in Game 2, they aren't getting past the second round. They got to blow them out, huh?
Well,
it's a must-win. It's a must-blowout win.
There needs to be a reaction. I don't know if it needs to be a blowout.
Fuck, start playing D.
They just got to win.
Yeah.
They just got to win. And it's probably going to be a long series because they're probably not going to win 2 in Orlando. But that's okay. They'll just win, But you got to win Game 2, right?
I just love the NBA. Orlando's all of a sudden a world number one beater. How dare you try to win 2 games in Orlando, even though we just played in a play-in game? You're playing the number 1 seed.
And you're so right on the idea that with 3 days off between games and everything,
ridiculous.
There's all the takes just fly. And I understand that they don't want a lot of games going up against each other, although there was one last night. I used to love it back in the day in late 90s, early 2000s, where it was TBS and TNT, and it was every other night you played, and there were 2 games on against each other at all times.
And that was before it was common to have 2 TVs.
Yeah.
Now it's really easy to have 2 TVs.
Yeah, right.
Put the fucking things on at the same time. Could care less. I have them both on. Kevin from Rochester Hills, number 1, the Pistons will get swept. 2, Red Wings will win the Stanley Cup next year. And 3, Parmesan cheese is underrated.
I agree with number 3.
Always. Especially the white trash kind. I love the white trash. Like in that green little thing.
Yeah.
Not the good stuff my wife gets. She gets that good.
Right.
She's Italian. So she gets that good Parmesan. I'm talking about the white trash, like the Kraft shit.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes.
It was, I went through my heavy Parmesan cheese phase, and where
it's over.
Everything. Well, it's been a little bit of tempered a little bit. Like, but you just everything you like. I'd have beefaroni right out of a can when I was in college, and just like smother it in Parmesan cheese, spaghetti, smother it in Parmesan cheese. Everything was
perfect for a 99-cent can of pasta.
Oh my God, yeah, perfect.
That sounds good right now. Ken Chu, Porter Martone is him. First teenager in NHL history to score the game-winning goal in each of his first 2 playoff games.
Pretty incredible, and it is amazing how it's like they were playing for Michigan State like 2 weeks ago. It's sort of this happens in the WNBA as well because their season starts early. But this is the end of the previous, the end of the same season, and it's too bad Michigan State didn't get a Frozen Four out of having him.
Couch on fire. Number 1, Flaherty, 20 walks in 23 innings, becoming the Riley Green of starting pitchers for walks. 200 walks this year. 2, Pistons, hot potato with the ball, not a good first playoff game look. And 3, Red Wings, just good enough again for a middling draft pick and no playoffs. Start over?
I don't know what the answer is entirely. It's a tough league to get caught in the middle in when you don't have star power. Their talent seems better than, I don't know. It's really frustrating. And the collapse they had wasn't, like the record even wasn't horrible. The way they lost some games late was, but some teams around them did really well too late. But yeah, no.
And no one wants to fire Yzerman, right?
Right. I don't
even talk about it.
I don't know what the answer is. The Flaherty thing is, at some point, I don't know if he's in the starting rotation this year because it is sort of you get a good game out of him once in a while, but it's just more often than not. Like he's one of those guys that I would consider you and I like betting against every Flaherty appearance. And I
don't even know if the Tigers wanted him back. I mean, he took his player option, and they had to kind of take that. But yesterday, I mean, just that play at third, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you get it to Dingler and then let him and Hautong there at third base kind of do the pickle play or whatever they call that thing, right? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't know what.
I know. Then you can't get mad at the Tigers because there's 162 games. And it's like, all right, I know, but it just sucks that your teams when they play like shit.
Yeah, I don't. If you got to pay him all that money, you're going to need him because of injuries and eating innings at some point. But like, yeah, I just
you don't know when Verlander's.
Yeah.
He's not anywhere closer than he was, or he's not farther away. It's like, all right, asshole. You know what I mean? These guys. Peasy, Jalen Duren. Listen to everybody. No one believes in you. What are you prepared to do about it? Don't let nobody come into your house and take your meal. Do what you need to do today.
Good stuff, PC.
Holy shit, that's late.
Go out there, play hard, stick your cleats so far up their asses that they've got to use the cleats to brush their teeth with.
I mean, that's so far up your ass that you brush your teeth with a cleat. TC Brunzi, number 1, Detroit sports fans today don't actually want a championship. They want the identity of suffering. The entire Detroit ethos is built on this notion of us versus them. The media, arts, sports, etc. all feed off of it. And 2, Bryce Underwood isn't overhyped. He's over-monetized. He's a decent lunch at Applebee's. But Michigan is paying 3-star Michelin prices for him. Carr will finish the year sharing snaps, and Underwood will portal out.
Yeah, we'll see if a few of these guys, like I don't know what he's going to become as a quarterback. He's obviously an immense talent in certain ways, but we'll see what happens if a few of these really highly paid guys wash out and what that means for schools and their willingness to commit that sort of money or donors to commit that money. And again, the mechanism for paying these guys is changing, and those questions need to be asked. Like last year, you didn't have to ask the question on Larry Ellison. Larry Ellison paid for Bryce Underwood, right, or whoever paid,
or his wife.
Yeah, you didn't have to ask the question. Like it was fine. Now that's not supposed to be direct anymore. So like, how does that work? And that question should be asked at every program. Doesn't mean it's going to be answered. It might be answered poorly, or it might. But if you're a reporter covering them, you should say, how is this, what is the mechanism to make this all happen? To the first part,
it's ridiculous.
The Detroit,
we don't actually want a championship?
We want a championship.
Absolutely. Yeah, take whatever narrative off of it. I don't want the being a loser, being around that.
I mean the last time in my life I can remember being silent for half an hour, other than sleeping, is when Big Shot Bob Horry hit that 3 in Game 5 of the Spurs Pistons in 2005, and Rasheed left him open. And after that game, you just knew that it wasn't the end of the series, but you just knew. My buddy and I, we just sat on my balcony in Kalamazoo.
Thinking about who you could push down the stairs.
Thinking about who we were going to push down the stairs. Yeah, it was awful.
Gay or not, someone's going down those stairs. David Jackson. The huge bio article on Fitzgerald by the USA Today that ran in the LSJ was strong, but it would have been stronger if the Freep or LSJ had produced it, and we didn't need an outsider to write it.
Agreed. And we didn't need an outsider to write it.
Well, Couch is busy having a kid. So,
yeah, well, no.
You know, someone's got to pick up the slack at the old LSJ.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah, you're not wrong. Obviously this is in company stuff, but we actually could have written that, and I would have loved if we had written it and didn't know it was coming.
Kurt Wisniewski, MSU football surprised me with the O-line and defensive line performance. Need work on the receivers and defensive back groups. Spring showcase gave some promise, but so much time between now and Toledo.
Yeah, I've heard people say different things. Like some people say, "Oh my God, they're in huge trouble after that performance." Other people say, "Oh, I've seen a lot of different takes."
Trouble?
Yeah, well, I've seen a lot of different takes. Well, one gentleman out here, I forget who it was, said, "Take the under, whatever it is." So
well,
yeah. Look, the offensive line, and both sides of the ball have been down for a while, but the offensive line is the key to rebuilding Michigan State football to a place where it's competitive and competing for things that matter. And it's just been so far for so long away from that. And you get the Kenneth Walker year, but otherwise, and so that. But again, we're so far beyond buying any hype that if you see good things, trust them with your own eyes, and I'll do the same, because until that point, it's. I gotta see it to believe it now.
Izzo for Prez next. My good friend is a big sports fan, but went to a college that didn't have football or basketball. He has no idea what is going on with the portal right now for basketball. He doesn't care about meaningless spring football scrimmages. I wish I was more like him.
No, you don't. I mean, you might sometimes, but there's also something great. Like he won't get that when, he doesn't get that feeling when Michigan State did get to the Rose Bowl.
So go to University of Phoenix. You don't have to worry about shit.
Yeah, I mean, I went to Columbia.
Get that online degree. You know how many teams to root for.
I went to Columbia College Chicago. We had an ultimate Frisbee team that I actually played on for a little while, and I think they had some club baseball and things like that. But we didn't have any of that stuff. What'd
you guys do?
Well, we were film and theater and journalism, and we were arts kids. We were I was
like on the weekend. Am I right?
I was like one of the top 5 athletes at the school. Unfortunately,
dude, you dominated. Yeah. You were walking around campus with your shirt off. What?
Actually, there was a guy that reminded me of you who was in our dorm. This guy named Neil, big dude, and he was on the 7th floor of the dorm we lived in. We would play these. It was fun because downtown was sort of our campus, so we'd go over to Grant Park and play these 11-on-11 football games. And I just remember whoever was playing, I was playing quarterback, and whoever was playing left tackle, who was probably 104 pounds. I never saw where a single pass. And when I picture you, I picture this guy Neil, because you guys look very similar.
Oh no!
He just hit me every single time. I just remember into that. But we had a great time. We had some athletes, I shouldn't say. So Neil was an athlete.
Sorry, Neil, that you look like me. Yeah. By the way, did you have to tell him where left tackle was when they were setting up the formation?
Well, there were some basic explanations.
Actually, you need to go over here.
Right. Yeah,
wide receiver. Ethan Charmella next. Number one, I'm not mad at the Max Bullough question, but there is one school that asks these questions 13 years later, and another that's not. Yes, Graham, I know it's not your job on the Michigan beat, but this is why we feel this way. Anyone asking about Jeff Jackson? We just chuckle with Blake Corum about his LLC. And 2, MSU has 3 players drafted in the 2027 NBA draft: Cohen, Fears, and Jervis. And 3, Cam Edwards is MSU's first 1,000-yard rusher since Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, a lot of people like Cam Edwards' performance. UConn transfer, and again, we'll see. I need to see it with my own eyes, but if they have somebody who can be a game breaker for them or a difference maker at that position, it would help. I've heard people really like the running backs overall, so we'll see what that.
Well, to the number one, the Jeff Jackson thing. I mean, we pretty much know. I've seen the cop cam of that thing. We know why he was involved. What I understand it. I don't have a problem asking questions about it. Ward Manuel, does he deserve a question to be asked? Maybe, but the Blake Corum thing, I don't know. It's not as intriguing as the Max Bullough thing. If you out of those 3, right?
Well, the Blake Corum thing is for some degree. Yeah, I mean, the Blake Corum thing is for a lot of people. I would say it's. I don't know if it's.
But it's pretty obvious. We read about it. It is what it is on face value. With Max Bullough, you have no idea what happened there. And in the end, I don't I'd hear the explanation. I'm all right, cool.
Yeah.
So now I can just live the rest of my days knowing that Max Bullough got suspended for insert here.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
It's a fair criticism, because I do think there are times that some basic questions are not asked. There are times that more questions are than we sometimes you probably realize. But Angelique just did a sit down with Ward Manuel that I need to read.
Oh shit.
And so we'll see what's in that.
Oh man,
in fairness, I've not read it yet, so we'll see what it may be a very good.
I think I might have an idea.
Well, I don't. I mean, Angelique knows what she's doing. I mean, she's pretty good questions.
Yeah. Richard Kane. There once was a team on a tear. The Tigers played bold without care. 8 wins out of 10. They're surging again. October dreams blooming somewhere. Bonus. Jason's Macho Man impression belongs on the Mount Rushmore of Jason impressions.
Do you use?
Oh, let me tell you something, brother. Richard Kane. I call him Dick Kane. Oh yeah. It's almost Mad Dog doing Macho Man almost.
It's very good.
Ooh, yeah. Let me tell you right now.
Well, it's sort of like
I can't believe I actually have 4 impressions. I can't think of Aussie.
That's pretty good.
Coach K.
Yeah, it's
I like how he did that whole little poet thing, and then he was like, "Oh, by the way, Jason's Macho Man."
What's the guy? I'm blanking on the guy's name. Who is in? He's always impressions are always done of him right now. Fuck. Give me 2 seconds. Give me some Hoff.
You get lats, dude. Yeah, what the hell are you talking?
Shake a tail feather. Oh no, I heard them bad boys coming. Can't stop now. Gotta continue my running. Yeah, because we're gonna party till the lights come on. And if my song stop,
Christopher Walken. I don't know why, but it's like people do impressions of people doing impressions of him now. It's one of those things. Like that's what
Absolutely.
I was trying. Yeah, right.
There's so many. Thomas Zambiasi next. The Tigers' away slide to start the season isn't anything to worry about. Looked like it had more to do with the weather in Minnesota and Arizona being pretty decent to start, but I'm still a little worried about Mize. Yeah, but if you're worried about Mize and one of those starts, you just said the weather. He started and then didn't have his what's his pitch there, his slider or whatever.
I think Mize is what he is at this point. I think he's a decent major league pitcher.
He's better than Flaherty.
100% better. Yeah, or whatever.
I still don't understand where Flaherty and Mize are in that order, but
yeah.
Anyway, sure. Alan Perlstein, merge the portal with high school recruiting. Everybody's in the portal. Use the star rating system for portal players. It would lend some coherence to an otherwise chaotic situation.
Well, they do have portal class rankings and stuff like that. I mean, they do have. I mean, it is done to some degree. They're different ages, though. I mean, it's a tricky thing, and sometimes only by a year, sometimes by 4 or 5 years. It's hard to know. And something that they do very poorly is truly understand how somebody will translate to a different level. And it's hard to do. I mean, as somebody who covered the mid-major level for a long time, there were guys I covered that would have been stars at the high major level. And there are other guys that were stars at that level that would have just been okay role players. And sometimes that was difficult to decipher. And I think that's one of the challenges, not only in recruiting, but I see it in the portal rankings. And I just but yeah, I see what you're saying here. Ultimately, you don't want everybody in the portal because it just creates more chaos. But it is tricky to rank who's better and what. And basically, you're getting people at different ages and different times in their lives. When you recruit a 17-year-old, that's different than a 21-year-old. Very different. And so it's hard to know. That person at 17 can be much more talented. Carson Cooper, for example, at 17, was nowhere near as valuable as he is at 21. And so how do you do that star ranking? And I would call him right now a 4-star transfer if he was available, right? And but he was like a 2-star when he was coming out of school.
Dave Lincoln next. Knowing that the NCAA, Congress, and the court settlement have failed to produce anything meaningful to correct the downward spiral of college sports, I'm wondering what is so bad about the executive order. Please read it and tell us what's bad.
Well, it's not so much what's bad in it. It's that the things that there's suggestions for the NCAA to do, and one of the things in there apparently is the 5-year deal, although it wasn't spelled out clearly, and one person kept reporting it, and that's not what's spelled out. And so if the president is suggesting something and the NCAA is going to do it, then that's okay. The problem is a lot of the things that he's suggesting have already been struck down the courts. They're just, you can't govern by executive order. It just doesn't work. And so if there are things that have not been something the athletes are fighting, like the 5-year thing is interesting, right? Because it's not something they're going to be sued upon adding an extra year for everybody. It may, overall, I think it would have a chance to maybe stick as a rule, but I don't know entirely. But a lot of that stuff is, you can't just, the courts have already said you can't do this. And so you can't come in with an executive order and say you can. And it's ultimately just a suggestion. It's ultimately shown. And sometimes I think it's a distraction. I just don't think, like, if you really wanted to fix college sports and you were the president and you were worried about it, you would put a group together, then you would come up with ideas and you would pitch it to, you'd work with Congress and you'd come up with something. And that's just not what's happened. That's how you would fix something. And I just, it's too off the top. I'm not saying the president doesn't want to fix college sports in the way he sees best, but the courts have already said a lot of this isn't going to be allowed.
Tigers fan 63 next. If the search for a Portal 5 is limited by Izzo not paying more than what Fears gets, he's not dying trying. If Fears is insisting he has to be the highest paid, then he's putting himself in front of team goals. Which is more likely?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to put that on Fears because I don't know that he would do that. And I think he's going to be, I mean, he wants to be, I'm sure, well compensated by his market value, which will be a fair amount. Now, he's, testing the NBA draft waters, which is, I think, a smart thing to do. Ultimately, I think he'll return to Michigan State. I think that's the intention. But, you get an evaluation. You get to see how close you are. You get to see what you look like against guys who are going to the league this year. But you're right that part of managing a roster is managing situations like this. And if the cost of somebody who's going to help you win a championship is more than your next highest paid player and they're at a premium position, this is different than the freshman who went to Maryland last year. Like he got paid at Maryland more than anybody was making on Michigan State's roster, right? That wasn't going to work as a freshman shooting guard. That wasn't going to work with veterans coming back. The market changes. You got one guy who's going to be making a whole lot, so that the money doesn't have to be that different, I don't think. So my guess is that's not as much of an issue, but I don't know.
Ask Jay Davidson next. Who am I? A coach with a lower level success and recognition, a player's coach. Year 2 hits the portal lottery and rides that player to a big season, and bonus, now fans expect to get the portal stud every season. Am I Tuck or Dusty?
Yeah, we don't have enough time for all of that.
So the portal was so new when the whole thing with Kenneth Walker happened. I don't think anybody thought that was like an every year thing. People hoped that the next running back.
Yeah, what do you mean?
You thought it was?
Hell yeah, dude. I thought that Kenneth Walker was going to happen at least once every other year.
Okay.
What's happening?
No, and you saw that, I mean, you saw a couple other transfers come in that people were hopeful for. Is this the next Walker, that sort of thing? But yeah, but it's true that this sort of stuff raises expectation, or yeah, I think Dusty is more in the spot where fans are going to expect that, but he's also just won a national championship, so he could frankly turn around and not have a great year.
I'm not talking about Michigan.
And he's bought himself all the goodwill in the world, and he's also done it at a school where if you don't have a great year in basketball, they're okay with it.
Mr. Ben Jen, number 1, I didn't really care about Michigan winning the championship. Didn't affect me in the least. We have to handle our own business. Waiting some more. Crickets. 2, fine. You proved your point after weeks away. We need you like Dominic's lady needs penetration. Please come back.
We're back, Benjamin.
Because she's a whore. That's why she needs penetration, right? Oh, I'm sorry, W word. Now that you're a father.
Yeah, thank you.
She might grow up to listen to these.
No, we were thinking about seeing if my voice helped put Cora to sleep, so we were going to play some of these.
Oh, you need the oatmeal story?
So we need the oatmeal story would work. But at this point, as long as her first word isn't whore, then I'm okay.
Yeah.
That would be great. Max, Iowa must vacate 4 wins for tampering while Michigan goes unpunished for the largest cheating scandal in college football history. Reminds me of our current administration. The rules are fluid and only apply to some.
Yeah, Michigan got away with stuff. I mean, they really did. And it's these loopholes in the rules that you only vacate games for certain things that are kind of bullshit. And look, Iowa tampered. They admitted it, and I understand why they're upset. Michigan State lost games in a bunch of years, and it's what Michigan did for them not to have any vacated games when Michigan State and Iowa are getting, feels a little it's ridiculous is what it is. But I don't know where else to go with that.
Keith Stupera next. Couch, did you slip on some oil and bruise your balls? I can't. What the fuck? I can't, with Izzo being one above average center away from having a complete team. Just pull the effing trigger. Did you bruise your balls? Have we been on for 3 hours? I don't know.
We're getting up there. We're very close.
We're
getting close.
This is great. Matty B, no comment on those? All right. Matty B, number 1. Never thought I'd see the day Izzo gives up his own state so easy. The goal is to win a title, not a Red Wings streak. It's Final Four in Detroit or bust. If you don't use every tool at your disposal to get it done, then build a statue and retire. Tired of this school limiting itself. And 2, not mad at the Bullough question, but there is one school that's asked these. We did this one. That's someone else.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Sorry about that, Matty B. Yeah. Maybe that was Matty B earlier, too. I apologize. Somebody else got. We did the first part. Yeah. Did we do the first part, too? No, I don't think we did.
No.
But, yeah, no, I don't think he's giving up. I mean, look, the man won a Big Ten title by 3 games 2 years ago, finished second this year, Elite 8, Sweet 16. He's not giving up. Like, Michigan just won, and that stings for a lot of MSU fans, and I get that. Others don't care as much. The Final Four in Detroit is an important deal for MSU, for a lot of people having it there, and I think it's something they would like to be at. And I guarantee you that he is not like hanging out watching soccer with his granddaughter. They're trying to figure out how to get this done. And I also would say, look, build a statue and retire. You want to limit the odds of this. And again, if Izzo ever gets to the point that he is mailing it in, and I don't think that'll happen, or he's Jim Boeheiming it toward the end or whatever, then yeah, you make the move regardless of what's next. But what's next is very likely to be at the level of this current version of Izzo.
Bill Pepper Jr. III. Number 1, which playoffs are you guys watching more of, NBA or NHL or neither? 2, for Jason, how did you feel about Rory winning the Masters back-to-back? Pretty special accomplishment. And 3, it was a long week with no show last week. Please do not do that again. We had a good reason.
We did. You've talked about Rory and how
Rory. I was just happy Justin Rose didn't win. Like, I like Justin Rose, but like Bill Simmons gave out his value bet before the Masters, and it was like 28-1 for Justin Rose, and he was saying it was value. I think it was lower than that. Anyway, it wasn't. There was no value attached to it, so I was annoyed at that. So I didn't want Justin Rose winning. But I don't have anything really against Rose. It's more about Simmons.
Yeah, I wanted a parlay. The only thing I really want, I want a couple, because I always have too many guys at the.
Of course.
And the funny thing is, I'd made all these bets, and I wasn't even watching the Masters because we were in the hospital that weekend, and it was like it was.
They didn't have a TV.
They did, but it wasn't like the time to turn. When it's she was.
No,
born,
I don't. I don't know when that time is.
She was born on Saturday, so she was born on moving day. Mm-hmm. And there were Sunday we're still she was a little early, and so it wasn't the
but
time.
You couldn't sit there and just with the TV on. It's not like you're going to lose any focus of your sweet child being born.
It was.
I mean, the TV just being blank. I feel like that's more annoying than not having anything on it.
Okay.
Well, right? Yeah. Like, I mean, what is it going to take that? I mean, what could have happened in the Masters
that's fair. That's fair.
Your little baby there, but you just have it on. There's nothing that makes my mind go more frazzled if I see a TV with just blank with nothing on it.
Well, it's just turned off, is what it was.
Yeah, right. That's even worse.
It wasn't like it was just on.
Put on
C-SPAN.
I give a shit. It's got to have something.
Okay.
Yeah.
No. So I didn't even realize what was happening. It was like I occasionally would check my phone or. But I did win. Kilbridge gave me a really good, and this was after we had done our last show.
Of course, you're just about to tweet it out.
Yeah, well, I didn't know it. I mean, it was just 4 different guys to make the cut that paid like $250 on a 14 parlay that hit. Yep, it was good. It was good. So yeah, felt good.
Yeah, share those next time.
Sorry.
By the way, Norm's been really bad the past 4 weeks. So yeah, we got to get some. Yeah. The Zurich Classic. I don't know if it's going to turn. Frank Vajner next. Baked. Chris Ilitch might be the bastard son of William Clay Ford Sr. Remember this when the Red Wings make very little to no changes this offseason.
Yeah, I mean, I know people are frustrated. I think hockey is a frustrating sport to build. I have a buddy who covers the Blackhawks, and it feels like he's been covering shit hockey for a long time. And I don't, it's
They won like 3 cups in 2010 or whatever.
Yeah, we were like 30 years old when they did that. It's been a long time. By the way, watching more of the NBA or NHL from Bill Pepper.
NBA,
yeah,
easily.
Yeah, I try to.
I'll throw an NHL game on if there's a Tigers game. The second TV gets NHL. I guess.
And if I find out a game's in overtime, I always go to it.
Yeah. Daniel R. Patterson, next game 2 is a must-win for the Pistons. Come on, Jalen Duren. And bonus, MSU football game September 26th at home versus Nebraska should be a good time. Key game and baked. El Tri Mexico will win the football World Cup this summer, and people will love it. You know who won't love it?
Soccer is boring.
Cora Couch. Already bored with soccer. She's been on this planet for 3 weeks almost.
I would love to see Mexico in the World Cup. I would. Anybody, and you know, just
speaking of the World Cup, what's up with your guys' trip? Does the baby throw a wrench in the
No,
thing?
I mean we knew she was going to be born. So we no, it's a 4-day trip that we've planned. We'll figure out
when is the World Cup.
It's in June through July.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
Yeah, we'll be fine. And the problem is the tickets are ridiculously expensive. The travel's difficult. Like we tried to get tickets to 3 different games, and we only got one of them. So right now, but we paid like $500-600 each for those tickets.
Oh my god!
And then it's going to cost
for like Istanbul versus
yeah, it's not. I mean the
Ivory Coast.
It's 2 decent teams. They're ranked higher in the U.S., but they're not. It's not the games we really want.
Wouldn't you guys rather just get an Airbnb
if we weren't locked into
just get like 3 TVs?
If we weren't locked into a couple things already, we would. We're about $3,000 into the trip.
Is that the new? Maybe that's the new sports trip for dudes, right? Like you just go to get an Airbnb at a nice spot, and you have no distractions, and you get like 3 TVs, and you just get all this shitty food, weed, booze. Oh man, see that sounds better than spending $900 to go see the Ivory Coast.
If we didn't get the one game, that's what they do to you. They get the one game, you're locked in, and then the hotels prepay, of course, and then it's like $150 each way on every train ticket that was already paid for because you don't want it to go up.
Because it was ridiculous. Like the Masters. I'm watching the Masters. I'm like, I really want to go one day, but I want to go on like the par 3 contest, or that's when all the kids are. Maybe Thursday. The first day, because Sunday, if you're at the Masters, you don't have your phone all day. You have no idea what's going on. The viewing experience for all the money that you pay, I just don't feel that there's value there. But
yeah, no, we have been greatly turned off by the World Cup, and I hate FIFA and I hate international soccer, and would love it just to go away and just be around club soccer for the rest of my life. But at this point, we're locked in. It's a one-time thing. But I would never do a World Cup again, ever. And I'll make sure Cora hates the World Cup.
Yes,
I'll make sure everybody I run into hates the World Cup. I have no. I hate the whole thing. It's awful.
But we're going.
Well, we're going.
We're gonna have a great time.
We're
Mark next. Spurs going down will be one of the best moments in Premier League history.
Yes.
No American millennial Tottenham fan is going to get up early on a Saturday to watch them play at Preston, and for that we can all be deeply thankful. And bonus. When Tom said die trying, I wish he said go broke trying.
That would have been a nice distinction, right? Yeah, that would have been good. Tottenham, by the way, this is the dream, right? And I feel bad for James Edwards and Phil Friend and all these Tottenham fans, but like right now they are in the relegation zone.
We're dropping MFers now?
And it looks like there's a very good chance they're going to get relegated a division down, which is just, they're a big club. For that to happen is very difficult, very rare. It's incredible. It's the best. It's the absolute best. And it will test the fandom of all these Tottenham fans, air quotes.
Skylar Verdon, since Graham thinks listening to the suffering of fans you don't like is perfectly reasonable, Graham should be listening to an American Tottenham podcast if they get relegated.
Oh, I will. Oh, it'll be the best. It'll be the best. And if their numbers dip, that means they weren't true fans, right? Just as many people should be watching.
If you're relegated, though, that means like what? You're gone off the earth?
No, you played in the championship division. It's like the second tier.
Chris, as MSU, Detroit sports, and Arsenal fan, I can't even say I'm surprised with the dud of a performance by the Pistons last night. Just disappointed in myself for not betting the Magic like I have with Scum Basketball and Man City and Baked. So we're definitely going to refuse to drop bags on a big man with the hope that Coop can get a 5th year of eligibility, only to have to scramble once that option gets shot down, right? That sadly just feels like the Izzo way.
That's the fear everybody has right now, right? Is that
it's hard to be the Izzo way when this has not been a possibility of a guy all of a sudden,
right?
Saying goodbye to Coop and like, oh, well, we could get him back. So
the Izzo way is also like Big Ten championships and Sweet 16s and Elite Eights. But look, the frustration is warranted in this, or it's still, the process is still happening. So I don't think the frustration is warranted yet. But the fear is warranted just because the opportunity seems so great. If this was a roster next year you looked at and said, boy, they're missing this. This is going to be a rebuilding year. Just getting to the tournament, keeping that streak alive would be something. That's not that next year. You have an All-American point guard returning. You have so many pieces returning. You just have to make sure you don't have one thing that doesn't allow the team to have the year it could have.
C. Thulius next. Detroit teams. WTF.
Well, the Tigers are like a half game out of first. Everything's okay.
Yeah, just don't go on the road. The Scott Templeton of Southern Maine next. Should I be relieved? I'm the only MSU softball fan. Losses to Detroit, Toledo, and Central hurt my heart. I thought year 3 would be the season that Coach Show turned it around.
It's a tough place to win in softball and baseball. I'm not sure the resources are going to increase in the rev share era. In fact, I know they're not. And that's for a lot of sports. I think, outside of 5 sports, men's basketball, women's basketball, volleyball, hockey, and football, I think expecting teams to win is probably going to be unfair. Now, we'll see whether those teams are supported at the level they need to be. But in this, I will be surprised if those teams are supported at a level that allows them to win consistently.
Scott Yu, hey, Graham. Hope all is well with everyone's health during the break. Number 1, can you guys do some periodic follow-up pods with Jeff Kohler as Jackson's pro career progresses? What Jackson's current plans are for the NBA and Summer League? And 2, is Pat Fitzgerald aware of the now traditional Labor Day weekend Friday night game? Are Jay Batt and Coach Fitz working on making this happen with the Toledo game?
Yeah, we'll have Jeff come on again, Jeff Kohler. It'll be fun, and we'll absolutely do that. He's a great guest, so that just makes sense. It'll be a good conversation, and his take on a lot of things.
He can do the whole month of July if he wants.
It's a good question on Fitzgerald and Batt and the Friday night game and whether they prioritize it. It's obviously a new AD, new coach at the same time without those traditions and whether they care. Now, it was a Friday night when I think it was a Friday night, right, when Kenneth Walker played Pat Fitzgerald's team, and that was at Northwestern. That was a road game, Friday night game. But it's a great question and one that should be asked, and it's possible it's been asked, and I just have missed it recently. But we'll make a point of asking.
Fart Soup next. Number 1, here's some media ethics for you. Next time your time 27. What the fuck? Next time your time 27 days off. Just let Norm and Jason do the show. Sorry, Fart Soup, this is not correct. I don't know why, but I get the feeling that Norm would probably bully Jason into leaving, and then he'd call Alex Sims and make radically suggestive comments. Yeah, but Norm couldn't get in trouble like I did.
Yeah, it would be funny to have Norm in studio. Yeah, I just have all these.
What do you mean?
I love that picture of you and Norm in this chair.
Yeah. AI.
Yeah.
At its best. Poplowski's knee brace next. Now that McGee is on IR, what?
He's not.
Oh, now that McGee is on IR and the Tigers stink, just trade Scooble now. Win 62 games and give us our summer back.
They're going to be fine. They're going to win 87 games, 88.
He has a PS.
Sorry.
I thought that was the end. You said that you just walk away.
That's not how the show will end. We'll give you. Well, it actually could be how the show ends, but I don't.
No, there'd be an announcement. There wouldn't be this lingering week of just nothing said.
Right.
What do you mean?
Right. No, it's a good point.
That would be wild.
Unless one of us dies or both of us die.
Jesus.
Right. Sorry.
This is supposed to be like a welcome back show, a positive.
Yeah, it's not
nice.
Yeah.
You got a young child now.
But if both of us,
we both die.
We're not in the same.
Izzo dies. Like, what does everybody have to die?
Well, we're not in the same car very often, or some. So it's unlikely to happen together. Too. That's another thing. If it does, I will write down in the notes that Elizabeth, please announce the show is over.
Just let the show go away. Who cares? If we both die in separate accidents, play the show back. All right, Jake Hawkins. Number 1, welcome back, boys. I'm eager to hear why you guys were off last week. Don't know if you guys had a chance to watch the absolute crazy game last Thursday where the Tigers beat the Royals 10-9. That saw a 6-1 lead squandered with 7 runs in the 7th, plus a rain delay. And 2, talk about being rusty after not playing for a week. But damn, Detroit Pistons, Sunday night was a disaster. The Magic were able to work some actual magic to deliver a shellacking to the Pistons. Get it together, boys. Wednesday night is an absolute must-win. And 3, as far as MSU goes, football-wise, can we please show some competence and get 6 to 8 wins? Basketball-wise, that's the whole. What's the holdup, Izzo? The portal has been open for almost 2 weeks, and I've been reading about guys who were favored to MSU going elsewhere. Are you pony up the dough to win a second natty? Are you?
Sorry, I missed that.
Hawk.
Hawk, you're usually really clean, and I sometimes get lazy on the copy editing with you.
Sorry, it throws me.
Yeah. So we've talked the MSU 6 to 8 wins for MSU football. I think people would take in a heartbeat right now. I think the Tigers are gonna be fine. A lot of people are concerned about them, but I don't know. I think their pitching's going to be really good overall. I think their bullpen's going to be fine. I think
with Meadows out for 60 days, Torque sucking, it's just I mean, there's hope.
And the division's not that good. I think they're going to, they'll be an 80.
G's been fun to watch.
I just need them to get to 87 wins and win the division. That's all. That's what they need to do.
Oh yeah. And finally, the jerk guy, Fitzgerald and staff may be able to get Michigan State back close to D'Antonio levels. The thing that I can't put my finger on is whether they have the financial support to buy a team capable of doing it. And bonus, spring is an overrated season.
You like spring?
No. I mean, I like it for the simple.
You sounded like
no. Yeah. I know. People have been sending me the Coach K's fucking grandson.
Oh, yeah. Geez. Yeah.
Killing a 15-year-old driving while drunk. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to do the impression?
Yeah, it's not a great.
It's just not funny. It's sad.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
What were we talking about?
Spring. You like spring?
Oh, spring. I just for the simple fact that baseball's back, we know weather's coming, but getting your ball bag teased of like good weather and then shit weather and then, it's just, I've had enough of it.
Well,
so, it's overrated.
But that's what a muskox flannel is for.
Yeah.
And when it's, when it's 50 degrees and then 65, you're comfortable in it. You feel good. You don't necessarily need a coat, which is great. And again, go muskox.com. That is a good question, whether they'll financially be able to do what the dreams that you have for Michigan State. And we're going to see that in the next couple of years. I have my questions too. We appreciate all of you guys sticking with us, even when you didn't know where we went. We're back. We'll be back Friday is the plan with another show. We'll take your Groovy Donut Twitter questions. We appreciate Muskox. Again, when you support our sponsors, you are supporting us. Go muskox.com. $15 off a flannel purchase with the promo code Peacock. And, good show, man.
Yeah, man. Dad.
Couch and the Rube.